kids are still up here. Hi! Hi, Fruity!
Hi, Kish.
I have a Lamia who's being incredibly demanding. She wants all of the attention, and of course it's now that we've gone live that she's like, hello, pay attention to me.
She's worried about the dinosaurs.
She would be. She would be worried about the
big weird
dinosaurs.
on the screen. What's that about?
It's don't worry about it. It's fine. So I'm gonna be holding her for just a couple of minutes because she decided that she needed to sleep literally all morning. Like an absolute goober, despite the fact that I got her food and offered to snuggle her earlier. She was like, no, I'm sleeping. And now that I'm busy, she's like, you have to pay attention to me. How dare you ignore me?
It's paying attention to me time. Drop everything, please.
Basically. You do got the big purrs going on, though. Hi, Fruity. How are you doing?
I'm doing alright. I'm excited. I'm looking at this big weird foot on the screen, Kish. What's this about?
That's... I wouldn't worry about it. It's fine. So
Whose
other
This
people
Gex?
can see. Oh, no.
Is this
now
a
it's just
Gex?
cutscene. It's a Gex. It's not a Gex. It's not a Gex. We wish it were a Gex. Gex
I
is
wish it
pretty
were a Gex.
terrifying. You know, you could finish Gex. That is one of the games that you've not finished on stream.
I finished Gex a bunch of times on stream.
No.
I didn't finish Gex 1. I finished the other 2 Gexes.
I don't know about that.
I have done.
Okay. Sorry,
It
can
took
we
me
just...
5 hours in one stream to beat Gex 3. And then a bit later I did it in 3 hours in a secret stream.
I do remember that. Sorry, can we just look at Lamia for a second?
This goober. This floppy baby.
The floppiest baby. She's just like, I don't care, you're touching me. But yeah, I guess you did beat Gex. That is fair.
I'm a Gex expert. I don't say that lightly.
Gexpert.
You doubt my credentials.
I do. I'm sorry, today is just a full day of doubting you. Okay. Down on the floor you go, kitten. No!
I remembered what time we were streaming today and everything.
You did! I'm very proud of you for that. Yeah, we're gonna play some Dino Crisis today, and I'm very excited about it. I have only experienced this game through a friend's brother. Oh, we're gonna watch this with the bad flashing on the side. It's fine.
It's fine.
But I have never played it myself, so it'll be fun to revisit it. I remember almost nothing about this. I do remember being very scared while watching it. But I was a baby, so you know, that's fine.
We're being very, very scary. Dinosaurs being a bit tougher than
OMGDINOCRISIS.
zombies.
Kayshurrr love.
Nam, thank you for the sub. I like how Kimrold decided she was gonna spell all that out. Actually, but yeah, Dino Crisis. I do. Oh, it didn't go Dino Crisis, and that is
Okay, we gotta stop. That's the end of the
tragic.
stream, everyone.
Yep.
Sorry.
All right, we're done with stream. We gotta go.
It doesn't say Dino Crisis in the Resident Evil voice. Game is bad, actually.
It's actually really bad. I forgot to include the ear here in the title. Hold on.
Oh,
That's so... No, it's not fine. Actually, it's not fine. It's there now. We got so distracted by the word kerfuffle that I forgot about that.
We were wondering if it was a real word and trying to work out how to spell this fake word.
How do you spell kerfuffle? Apparently, it's exactly what it sounds like. No more. Hey, no more demos. Let's just do this.
I'm just walking really slowly and not doing anything. Oh, grip and rip it. Oh,
Rip it
you
and
waited
rip
for
it.
stream. That was clever.
I did. I usually do. I usually wait until stream.
I just went straight away when we got a call.
That's okay. We can maybe grip it and rip it later. Hi! You're just gonna yell at me today, aren't you? What can I do for you? You've got food. You've got everything. Okay, let's actually do this. Let's start. I'm gonna play on normal. Loud Dino! Good God!
I've heard that the dinosaurs are very loud and the people are extremely quiet.
This is gonna be great.
So you'll be tempted to turn up the volume during the cutscenes. If you do, remember to turn it back down afterwards.
Understood. I do have my my sound like right next to everything, so it'll be fine.
The man is Dr. Kayshurrr,
Yeah.
the leading authority
Dr.
of our nation's
Kayshurrr.
energy research. Dr. Kayshurrr
Man
was
is
alleged
just
to have died
hair.
in an accident during the course of an experiment 3 years ago. The reports were premature, and it appears that he is currently working as the head of a non-weapon project at this facility.
Also, is this the internet?
The experiment is in the late stages of development. Regarding the staged accidental death, it appears that this country is somehow involved.
I think this is the future.
I think this is the future. This is what the future looks like.
To the data on Dr. Kirk.
You may not like it, but this is what it is. Dr. Kirk proposes the ultimate source of clean energy. Is it dinosaurs? Government rejects financial support. Laboratory closes. I'm also excited to play this.
It's gonna compress time so it can get energy from the past before it was used.
Oh no! Not time orb.
Operation.
I've been very much enjoying watching Sylvie just despise playing Final Fantasy VIII. It's been very good. Hi, Lou. Are we gonna? Is it gonna do this bad flashing every time we have a cutscene?
Just be a thing that happens on the cutscenes.
Okay, well,
There might be a setting that gets rid of it.
We'll mess with it at a later date.
Just ignore that part of the screen. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, hi Lou. How's it going, friend?
I think the disc got some scratches on it or something.
We got some gunk on our disc. It's fine.
Yeah. The PlayStation's getting a little old. The PS1.
It's no longer gray. It's yellow from just existing.
Mine's yellow from just existing. I'm not sure it works anymore.
Oh, it's tragic.
Spotty last time I got it out.
This makes me sad.
I'm talking about a real PlayStation now, by the way. That one obvious.
I figured.
I've through Final Fantasy VII on it. It made me happy one last time.
Sorry, I'm late.
We got the Dr. Pee-Pee. Also, it's also got dinos on it. Today is a dino-heavy day.
Nice.
Forget him.
Also, she is so quiet. We're turning her up a little bit. We got the Therizinosaurus on the Dr. Pee-Pee. He's gonna come for you. Also, look at that. Look at that manicure on that dino. Those are some impressive claws. I have the last couple of food orders that I've done. When I've gotten my groceries and I order my Dr. Pepper, I've been hoping that it's all been dinosaurs, and it has been the last 3 times, and this makes me incredibly excited, but I know that one day I will stop having dinos on my soda, and that will be an incredibly sad day. Also, that man just got.
He'll be fine.
That's a man sandwich.
See, he's gone now. He escaped.
Yes, escaped. He needs some milk. It's true.
This is the first checkpoint. Playtime
Top tier voice acting. Okay.
Something's wrong. The lights in the guardhouse are out.
Maybe this has been a wild night of partying for the guards. You know, a little song, a little dance.
Bro,
The
just
days
the guard
before
party.
subs. Not the guards party.
That's what I said.
You
Stay
silly
here,
man.
Junior.
Right? Remember when
Leave the
we all
guards to
thought that
me.
these graphics were like top tier?
This game's graphics were actually like
Hey, do
I
you
mean,
know what's
really
going
good.
on?
The
Forget
wanted
about it.
to do
Just don't
Resident
get on
Evil
my
again,
case.
but with everything being in-game assets rather than
All right.
the hand-drawn backgrounds.
Makes
So I
sense.
wanted to actually make the environments so you can interact with them.
I mean, I
So they
still
had to
look at
build
this.
their own engine from the ground up to do
That's
this.
dope. That's so
Okay,
cool,
let's do
though.
this.
No, it's
I
fine.
got some
infiltrate
weird
the
facts
facility
about
and
Dino
occupy the
Crisis.
I am
facility
here
from
for
the
it.
floors.
In
I should have
preparation.
access to all the security systems from there.
Also, hi,
I'll
Sylvia.
contact
How's it
you
going?
as soon as I cleared the room.
No, I'm 100% here for this. Even still, like, I don't know. I'm definitely someone who, like, can look back at old games and be like, this still looks, like, pretty dang good, especially considering the technology they had. Like, this is great. Also,
Rick can
oh
handle
god,
the inside of the facility on his own.
tank controls.
Oh yeah. Oh, one thing you can do is you can aim and move at the same time.
Let me guess.
Perfect.
You
This is
can't
something you
aim
never
and
had
move
before,
and
right?
shoot at the same time, but
The brass is still warm.
it's a step in the right direction.
These guards are shooting at something very
Better than
recently.
Chris's. I'm gonna
So who are
take
they
2
fighting?
steps, and now we have to
This wasn't much
stop
of a fight.
just to
I
aim
don't think
my
these guards
gun.
hit anything before getting sliced.
Please,
in
Chris.
half. Whatever they were shooting at came in through there. and ripped
Because
right
he's a
through the
little
steel
cross-eyed, I understand. He has
Well,
to
the
take a
hole is
little
nice
extra
and clean.
time to make
But
sure
I
he's
still say
lining
you
up
did
that
this.
shot.
fence. Very funny.
Was the
Still need to figure
remake
out
or
what
like the
happened here.
remaster
Continue to sweep the area.
for Resident Evil 1 that just makes Chris look ridiculous? It's very good. Also, we're doing pretty good today, Salvia. I'm excited to
Yeah.
play dang game.
First remake actually fucking slaps.
I love it.
Chris always looks like a goober.
It's true.
It's true to his character.
They've done very good. No keys. Okay, this is fine.
You need a hexagonal valve handle to open the door.
I only have the triangular valve handle though. I do want to like replay the remake for 1. Just very
It's
good.
real good.
Real dang good. I just want to play all of the Resident Evils again.
Just on a survival horror thing.
Yeah. 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 Also, nothing useful. This is what we saw in the demo, where they just ignored the key.
We're ahead of the demo already.
Hey! Oh god, menus. Okay, this is fine. Oh.
How do we get the rotating ammo crate on top of the shelf, though?
How do I push things there we go.
They did this in the demo, so we knew it was possible.
Also, have you used your ducky yet? Because it's good. It's good. They're good keyboards. That's so exciting, though. Sasha, I'm glad you decided to get one of the duckies. They're great. I like them. So duckies are great mechanical keyboards. You got those good clicky clacks. Would highly recommend to anyone if you need a good keyboard. I'm not sponsored by Ducky, by the way, but hey, they're out there. Hit a bitch up. All right, we got the key. Let's do the thing.
Oh, do we have to
Circle.
use it from the inventory instead of
Yeah,
just
we
use
do.
the door?
Yeah, we do. Is it? Oh.
I think we need to swap between the items and the supplies? How do we do that?
Wow, I'm hitting every button.
Can we go
Oh.
up off the top or down off the bottom? I'm not
That-
sure.
Ha ha ha! It is up.
Hey!
What? Can't be used here! Backup generator area, ground level, are carved into it. So...
BG. Hmm.
Backup generator room key.
That's the B1 backup generator key we need. We have the BG generator key.
This is horrible.
Is that what's happening?
It might be. Okay. This is the room that we got the key from. Well, what if Rick is doing a bad job inside?
Rick is probably doing a bad job.
Regina, consider. We've only just started and I'm already doing it terribly. It's been ripped apart with great force. Want to go through, maybe? Consider?
It's been a wild party those guards were having.
Look, I'm prone to breaking stuff when I party, so, you know.
Just making sure that the keys...
Maybe I wasn't... Maybe I wasn't standing against the door properly, you know? We've only just started and I'm already stuck. This is boding very well for how this entire thing is gonna go.
This is fine.
The shelf is magically moved back. There are no doors in here, right?
I don't see any doors.
Okay. Hi, Sylvie. It's Dino Crisis time! Sorry, I keep shouting over you. Glass pieces are stained with blood! Can we go here?
Ooh.
Rick here. I'm in. The place is deserted, though. I have a very bad feeling about this.
How's the progress going with that security system?
I don't know what's been going on here, but it looks like all the power in this facility is being cut.
Same here.
As long as that's the situation, there's not a lot I can do. Why don't you see if you can gain access to the backup generators on the ground level?
Rick, I've been trying. Rick, I've been trying.
What are you doing here?
The key doesn't
I
work.
caught the last part of your conversation.
By the way, I found a key.
Hand it over. Let's head outside.
Ah, that's why we're not authorized to use key. We have
But
to give it to man.
But I found the key. It's
See the little
mine.
moths flying around the light. Sorry.
Do you see the little moss? It's very good.
It's very good.
Just nice little touches in the background. Dig
Yeah,
it.
it is.
It's locked. It's locked.
Got a feeling there's going to be a lot of doors that don't budge in this.
That's fine. Also, hold on. How do I... Quick turn.
Nice.
There's our aim. And I
You can walk around while you're doing it.
Very
She's
good.
so ready to...
Yeah, she is. Look at her. Look at this. She's ready to go.
Yeah, she's gonna get you.
Oh, running into walls. It's fine. I'm not worried about it.
Remember, it's gonna be very violent. And it's this.
Disgusting.
Oh no, it's polygons. They're all over the place.
Sir, you need to keep your polygons inside.
Those tooth marks. It had to be some sort of animal.
Teeth.
Okay, let's move on.
Are you not bothered?
Squirrel.
Not the squirrels. The state of the blood suggests that the victim died recently. Yeah? Yeah. Is that... The state of the blood, not the body. Okay. Okay. No extra RAM for man. Poor Jam. Why are there so many Jam accidents around everywhere?
Just comes up a lot in horror.
Such a waste of Jam. Wait, can I
Maybe
read
lots of
these?
people are very afraid of jam.
It appears to be a notice. Avoid using the batteries from the other floor and vice versa. And using... Wait, what?
What does that mean? What is this riddle?
Avoid using the batteries from the other floor. Avoid using the
from
floor for
other
the batteries?
Same hat.
Same hat. I don't think they understand. Okay. If I set the battery here, I can charge it. Great.
Do we have a battery?
No.
This looks like a puzzle.
This absolutely looks like a puzzle. There are 3 buttons. Which button will you press? I like center. I don't know which one I want.
There were colored thingies on the wall next to you.
You're right.
Red, blue, green, white? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're fine. Red, blue, green, white.
Yeah.
So...
We just need blue over there.
So just keep doing... We'll do right and then center. Easy peasy.
I think we accidentally did it right with the first press.
Not accidentally. I knew what I was doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Listen. Hey! We did it. These do... I know we've already said it, but this game does still look very good considering. Because this came out in what, like 99?
Okay, I forgot that one. Let me check.
Gotta look. I guess I'll leave that to you. You've got this. Power distribution device.
1999.
Yeah, 99. All right. This game. Oh god, this game old. Let me just let that sink in for a hot second. Oh boy. 23 years.
Been a minute.
Sounds like somebody's having a party out there. I'm not worried.
It's just the guards partying.
Mm-hmm.
This is how the fences get broke.
Look at all that blood.
Oh, this is not Chris's blood.
Oh no! Look at it! It's got the PSX shakies. Also, hi, Dr. Octo. I'm gonna get absolutely destroyed by this raptor. Oh god!
Just walk away. Don't give him the... I think we can run, but I don't know how.
I'm trying! Please get up, Regina! I'm not allowed to run! Oh no! Oh my god!
This is a problem. Hey, you ran!
I'm running now, we're fine.
Okay, so that one's falling.
I'm bleeding everywhere!
That could be an issue.
Oh my god, okay, no, this is fine. I think I was fat thumbing some buttons. It's fine. I think that's why I couldn't run.
You only have one stopping bleeding item, I think.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. We'll use that.
Just walk it off. It's fine.
Oh, we're gonna. Okay. This is horrible, and I'm scared.
This is the real run. That was a test. Can I outwalk a dinosaur? Probably not.
But can I outrun a dinosaur? Ah!
Oh, hoping he'd gone.
Absolutely not. Dinosaur says, I live here now. Oh god! This is fine.
I think you're in caution.
This is horrible. Oh god, that's not
She's
the
hurt
button.
a shoulder.
Wait, I was trying to get into my menu! I moved too far ahead! Dinosaur, I need you to wait for a minute, okay? I need those fluids, though. Is the thing. This is a bad door. Ah, dinosaur, please. Walking with purpose doesn't work against dinosaurs. We have learned.
Now we know. Oh, just took the one shot to scare him away?
Good news. I got the control system back online.
Rick, there are dinosaurs!
It's Gale. I lost him.
So what's the bad news? Did you run
Ah,
into some guards?
Look at those
You're
little
not gonna believe
squares.
He was attacked by some kind of dinosaur.
Oh, now that's a good one. So, who was it? Barney?
This isn't a joke, you idiot. We were just attacked by a big-ass lizard.
For real? What's going on? Alright, head over to the control room and we'll sort out this whole situation.
That's because it's not the Resident Evil engine, but it is the Resident Evil dev team?
Yeah, the
Right?
Resident Evil dev team making their own new engine so they could do Resident Evil with real-time scenery.
Perfect. We're here for it. Alright. Rick said he got the thing ready, right? So can I go in here now? Yes! Yes! Also, hydrate. I can do this. This can happen. You should also hydrate, Fruity.
So no one dies from a lack of fluids. I did.
Good and good. We don't want anyone dying from a lack of fluids.
You better hydrate too, Sylvie.
Gotta do it! Those are the rules.
Bubblegum soda.
No. Not mutant zombies or mutant zombie dinos.
Instead
Tanya?
of dogs jumping through the windows, it's Velociraptor.
Horrible. Horrible. Also, it sounds like a horrible soda. I didn't want to say anything on the off chance that you liked it, but bubblegum soda sounds disgusting.
So we didn't like it and it didn't like Sylvie.
That just means never drink it ever again, because that sounds like an abomination. I mean, yeah, it's horrible. Future of the stabilizer. Also, I heard dinosaurs. Door's locked from the other side. There's a ventilation opening. I believe that I can reach it by climbing. You want to climb to the ventilation opening? Yes? I mean...
Is that real? Oh no.
Sorry. Thinking about Doritos flavored Mountain Dew made my brain just completely shut down. No. Also, my internet looks like it's freaking out for a second. Hold on. Fruity, can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay. Okay. What is it doing? Why is it doing that?
Oh,
This
what's
is
happening?
It just looked like my internet was dropping for a second, but it's back now.
Oh,
I
jeez.
just wanted to make sure that it wasn't actually going away.
I got us covered if we get stuck, by the way.
Perfect. We love those original thoughts. Oh no, what have you done?
Since it's an old game, we gotta go game FAQs.
Yeah, you do. No, Mountain Dew on a good day is not great. I don't like Mountain Dew. It makes my stomach hurt. Speaking of Soda's making tummies upset. Again, just Dorito-flavored Mountain Dew sounds horrible. Terrible, even as a joke. Yes, I want to climb down. I need to...
Stop thinking about Doritos flavored Mountain Dew. Oh.
Yes. I was thinking I needed to figure out what my save state button was, but, you know, it's fine.
It might come in important. This might be one of those hard games.
Yeah. Okay, this is fine. Ah! Okay, we'll go this way.
We've learned about lasers.
Lasers hurt us. I figured it would just act as a wall, but no, it says I will hurt you. Understood. Space flavored. What would that taste like?
When you drink it, your eyes boil.
Oh no! Oh jeez. You got the N-aid!
An aid!
An aid!
We got an aid!
I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna. This is gonna go great today. It's. So I tried to get some sleep last night. All right, did not get much sleep.
You can push that box and there's an item under it. They did that on the thing. Sorry, on the track mode before the game started.
Hey! No, if you notice stuff like that, tell me.
There you go. That's all I know, because it's just what the track mode did before we started. Kish, do you smell burnt toast?
I was gonna make the James Bond is having a stroke joke, but I couldn't even get those words out. Oh!
Oh, jeez.
No! No! Bad lizard! Dork!
I guess we're going to the communication area. This is fine.
This is where I
wanted to be here anyway.
Where's my destination? I'm on the wrong floor. I'm on the wrong floor.
That's fine.
I don't understand how this map works.
What's the other floor? Okay. Are we in the blue part?
We are in the blue part. I'm just trying to understand. There's like doors that lead nowhere, but I'm assuming I just haven't been to those rooms yet.
Oh, we have to teleport into the room.
Or we have, yeah. Okay. Okay. This is fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Probably.
Just go out and have a bit of a wander. It's fine.
But there's dinosaurs everywhere. But listen.
Run with purpose.
There's a slot for an antenna for the antenna activation key. A memo from an antenna operating engineer. Will you read the memo? No, I don't think I will. No, I will. I'm gonna. We'll read it. As a result of tonight's experiment, a strong magnetic storm may occur. Consequently, the communication department will close at 6 p.m. At that time, the antenna will be temporarily stored. To prepare for the emergency, be sure to check the weapons storage. The weapons storage locker in the lounge. You can unlock it with the combination 8159. Recently, inexperienced guards have been assigned here, and a common problem is that they do not know how to use the DDK. Here are some points that may not be clear in the manual. Make sure that your staff becomes familiar with this important information. After you set the DDK to the door's locking device, you'll be asked to enter the password code. You will then need to derive the code by using the basic elimination rule. No.
This sounds like a lot.
I've already forgotten what the code was.
Don't worry, I'll
81?
write it down.
Okay, thank you.
8159.
Okay. Okay, good. Speaking of, where is my gaming notepad? I haven't had to use that in a minute. You're officially in charge of writing everything down, but
This does seem like the kind of game where the character might not just remember the code and put it in
Absolute-
automatically.
absolutely will not. Will
Yeah.
not remember anything. I can guarantee. Also, I'm gonna go turn my fan on a little higher because it's getting warm up here, and maybe it's just because I am laughing too much about Hopefully you can't hear my fan too much.
I can't hear it.
Good. I think the sound is low enough that my noise cancellation stuff will catch it, but
Oh no.
exactly. It's what Sylvie said. Don't blame me. It's what Sylvie said.
Monster.
It's like that scene in Finding Nemo. Anemone. It's an anemone. Okay. These were words and I didn't understand any of them.
We gotta use the basic elimination rule.
Oh no.
It's gonna be describing a puzzle.
Yeah, it is. Eliminate the key letters to reveal the correct code. Be sure to try this out by setting an actual DDK to the door locking device. For example, code... Oh. Okay, no, I understand. It's a very basic cipher. I understand. Here I was, panicking.
You got this.
This box supplies the power for the antenna! Great. Okay, well, I don't have what we need. Oh god. It's fine. This is not the hallway with the bad raptor.
Surely there won't be any raptors on the roof. That's just not the done thing.
I don't know. An aid.
Do we need all these ananids?
We need all the nades. I understand that they didn't want to type out anesthetic for each one of them, but they still put it in the description every time.
That vent looked suspicious in the corner over there. Sorry.
That's okay. I can turn around. Our lady's actually, like, pretty quick, so, like... It's fine. I can't.
Okay, I was wrong, sorry.
Everything looks suspicious because it's all here. All 3D here. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't want to go in the hallway with the dinosaur. It's bad. It's bad in here.
Too many ananids. No, we can't talk.
Ah! Dinosaur, please!
Okay, they don't understand door handles, but they will just wear them.
I don't like it! Oh, it's bad here.
Oh, the other one came in. I heard him banging on the door. This is horrible.
Oh no! We've only just started and I've already got panic sweats! What the fuck? Oh! Oh, I forgot that they could come into other rooms.
Yeah, I remembered. I just didn't say anything.
Horrible. Terrible. I might need to change shirts partway through stream. I was like, I have a fan. I can wear a long sleeve shirt. No, I can't. I'm scared.
sounded like Mother was going, ah! Every time a dinosaur came on the screen.
It's just a dinosaur! Why is it freaking me out?
Because you can't really stop it, and it's faster than you.
Oh my god. There were dinosaurs. Sylvia was scary. I can't wait. I have to change my shirt. I'll be right back. It's too hot. I'll be right
Shepherd.
back. Wasn't even gonna start words on stream for y'all. I have changed shirts. Got
Got the
scared.
dinosaur hunting shirt on. We're ready to go now.
I have it's my not dead possum shirt. We're ready to go. This is fine.
Everything's fine. We're just hanging out in this building. The security guard probably just had a party.
No. I didn't read this. Oh no. Okay, what was it? It's been locked at the I just my brain just I can't think. What the fuck? It's been locked with the digital disc key. You must check the device next to the door and set the DDK device. This is the elimination code. The DDK device, the symbol N is inscribed. Do you mean the letter? What is this strange symbol? That's the letter N, my friend. DDK that contains the correct information is required to release this lock. Will you set the DDK? Yes? To release the lock, it is necessary to set both the code and input DDK device. Okay, so I need to find the other thing. I understand.
We need to find Gubbins.
Not the Gubbins. This is the door that we're trying to unlock. I need an entrance key for that. Okay.
Find the hexagonal crank.
No.
Can't find the valve handle.
Okay, so we need to go off to the left and down eventually. That is our end goal. But that's where the DDK is? No, it's this door. Management office hallway. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Wait, no, it's fine. No, it's fine.
On the other side, we're fine.
The way that I just...
Just walking the door a little bit, but it's fine, don't worry about it.
Well, I pushed the switch. Nothing happened. Okay.
I
Can I-
was like 95% sure that was just gonna turn off the laser and the dinosaur was gonna get you.
I mean, same, but I was prepared to run. I was ready. Okay, we'll just go up here. That's where we came from, though, isn't it?
There
this
was
is-
another door, I think, upstairs that we didn't go in.
Yeah,
They were like
there's-
right by the dinosaur when we first got there, so we just
There's dinosaurs there, though.
there
is
are
the
dinosaurs
thing.
there.
Listen.
Is an issue.
Listen, there are dinosaurs up there, and apparently dinosaurs scare the shit out of me.
We're learning. We didn't know this before.
We'll add that to the list of terrifying things. It goes rabbits, shadow men, dinosaurs. Understood. But also, can we talk about how there's a lack of dinosaur horror? How it needs to come back. Werewolves
Kinda
too.
right, yeah. Dinosaurs are scary.
Dinosaurs are terrifying.
We all watched Jurassic Park as a kid. Bring back dinosaur horror.
Honestly, though, like, there's a huge market that we're missing out on, and it needs to happen. Oh god. Okay. Don't, dinosaur, listen. No!
Oh no.
Okay, but before. No! Grab the thing! Oh no!
It's six bullets. Perfect. This is fine. What
I'm
a perfect
scared.
situation to be in. We're fine as long as we never stop looking at the bullets.
So let's stream, everyone. We're gonna call it here. Hope you've enjoyed Dino Crisis. Ah! Oh my god. Get up.
Oh, that might be the thing that happened. We unpaused.
Ah, I had hoped that maybe I could run out of the way. N and H. N is first floor. H is second floor. I don't know if that's gonna make any difference, but I am writing this down. Anything to keep me from having to run from this dinosaur. Ah! No! Regina, please! Oh my god!
It's kind of brutal. Oh, you're bleeding again.
Yeah, I am. It's fine. It's fine. I think I have an item for that. Oh god. I am going to be incredibly bad
Can we
at this.
combine... Oh, okay. I
Oh.
was gonna say, can we combine an anid with it and it might do a thing?
Possibly, probably. Well, we'll try it next time. I'm done bleeding now. Okay, map.
I'm done bleeding.
I'm done bleeding. We're gonna say no to that. That's a no from me. There's not really
So the
anywhere
door
else.
appears just locked, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Might be one of those where you run around and get eaten by dinosaurs for a bit and then you restart and do it with that knowledge that you gained from the previous attempts.
Possibly.
Knowing where all the items and doors are.
Probably. That's okay. I just try to see where else I could potentially go. Nowhere really. I guess I didn't really get anything from the room that had the two dinosaurs.
No, we got scared and ran away.
Yeah. And I do have limited pistol ammo. That's tragic.
You're gonna go cap some dinosaurs?
I am. I think I am. Oh god.
She's been made sad by repeated dinosaur bites.
It's okay. As soon as I kill my first dinosaur, I'll feel like I'm invincible.
Yeah.
Dinosaur. Dinosaur. Hey, dinosaur. Where is? Ah! This is fine. This is fine.
Yeah. Wasn't fine.
Oh,
Where did he come from?
probably the other room. Great! I've used the thing. Oh, you're starting me out here again. Okay, I understand. Realized I haven't saved at all this entire game. Dinosaur, please! Her poor arm. This is terrible.
That looks... it looks not good. It looks like a bad situation.
Honestly, is it dead? I think it's dead.
That's a dead dinosaur.
That's an incredibly dead dinosaur. I wasn't keeping track of how many bullets I used. Oh!
Well, now add 1 to that number. Is it a restock? Can we combine the bullets with the gun in the menu to reload?
Possibly. Oh. Use. Check. Sword. That's not gonna help me. Okay. Well, I am bleeding.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Nope! Dinosaur, please! You're so much bigger than I am!
Stop that.
It's not great. Oh, she's not doing fantastic.
I think we've got only anids left. Got a mix on the map?
Can I mix it with... Hey!
Yeah, a big anid. Oh! And S. What? How do we...
What is this? No, I'm trying to check.
How do we deploy and
Do I shoot the dinosaur with it?
Does that go in pistol?
No.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Wait, we only have 5 bullets.
Yes.
It said 5 out of 34. I assumed that meant
I
34
also
loaded.
assumed.
34 spare and 5 loaded. But I think it just means 5 bullets.
I think it also just means 5 bullets. Dart is for the shotgun? That's horrible. This is horrible. This is
Can
horrible.
we use the shotgun bullets to... Can we mix them together to fashion a shotgun?
Can I throw the bullets real fast? Oh, we're gonna die.
It's fine, we've learned about dinosaurs.
Haven't learned how to save, though. Like, properly save.
She's so poorly.
Yeah.
Poor lady.
She's not doing too great.
Plus, we need the shotgun. It's very important. Oh, we got a code earlier. 8169. Yeah.
81. Is this a shotgun? No. It's not a shotgun. Okay. Well,
it doesn't... We don't have any 40 Smith & Wesson bullets.
yeah.
So that's an issue. But if we did...
Dinosaur, please. I just want to look at this. I just want to look at this dinosaur. Yes, I want to read the file. New product descriptions: recovery aid, an aid, intensifier, multiplier. 4 chemicals listed above feature our company's latest advancements. They're designed to perform exceptionally, particularly on the front lines, where only the minimum amount of equipment is accessible. By mixing chemicals, the following two types of supplies can be created. Recovering type quickly recovers lost vitality. Anesthetic type applied to the head. Sorry, applied to the head of a bullet or needle. It can put the target to sleep. Supplies that are produced by chemical mixing can be made even more effective with additional mixing. This is unhelpful. Okay.
It's fine, we knew it would come.
There was hope, though. There had been hope. Yeah. This is fine. Where does it start us if we continue? Just right out here. This is a problem. This is a problem.
It's
Okay.
all the problem. It's
Plus,
fine.
I need these things.
Definitely need a shotgun.
Yeah.
All our sleepy bullets is for shotgun.
I need to get back in there and steal the thing. Oh no.
Do we? There's a dinosaur in there.
There is a dinosaur in there. Have you respawned, baby? No.
Does anyone have any bullets we could use?
I've only used them on the one dinosaur and it took all of my bullets. These dinosaurs are horrible, terrible creatures.
They're not great.
Okay, so we had the room for the antenna, which I can't access because I don't have an antenna key. I can't open up the doors with the DDK because I haven't accessed that yet. What else? What else we got? How do I get to this room? It's on this side of the building.
Is it past the lasers?
I think it is past the lasers.
Do we
But
need to work
how-
out how to make lasers go away?
How do we turn off lasers?
You can go up here, can you? Or is that how you got in?
Yeah, this is how I got in. I mean, I'm still gonna look around up here because I don't know where else to go. It's fine, I'm sure. What's this? The problem with having live backgrounds is that I no longer know what to look at. I can climb down here.
This changes everything.
It does. Absolutely. This is perfect.
The other place is just where you go if you want to be eaten by dinosaurs.
Give me the ammo. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, now we know that I just skipped everything that I was supposed to do and moved ahead. Classic Kaysh move. Rick! Where have you been?
What's our status?
Why haven't you helped
This
me?
security system is a snap for me. Real amateur stuff. So what exactly happened to
That's a
Gabe?
weird
You
keyboard.
said that he was
Yeah,
attacked
they
by a
are.
dinosaur?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
How
I just hope he's
is
still
Rick? How
alive.
does Rick not know about the
Anyway,
dinosaurs?
his
He's looking at
priority
all the
is to complete the mission.
cameras. Rick,
What
they're
we ought to do
everywhere.
Is just call in the chopper and get off
Might be a
this damn
goober.
That's a great
I
idea.
think you're right.
But Cooper
Also,
has the
this
radio, and he's missing.
Stuttering. This is fine.
Hey, what's with this monitor?
Is it sorry?
That's the security monitor.
Every
for
once
the
in a while, like
underground
the
area.
start of a
cameras
a
are
line,
on.
they'll just like repeat it.
Oh,
So I take it that
Hey,
means the power
hey.
still hasn't been restored to the area.
Exactly. They must have that area wired to a different power system than the ground level.
We can investigate that area after we finished our sweep of the ground level.
Okay. Then
We've
I'll
already
take
done
care
that.
of the
Regina,
shuttle
we've
that's
done that.
blocking the way. You
I
work
did
your
that
way over,
already.
Grab the dock and then rendezvous back here.
The chair squeak.
that was a
Oh.
very good chest squeak.
I liked it. ID card is required to operate the elevator. Oh no. Okay. Sorry, I will go quiet during the cutscenes because I
Yeah.
cannot
get the voice
understand what
All
there's.
I know
Yeah.
is where those things are coming from.
I'm very bad at taking in information when I can't read it. I have to concentrate extra hard. What's over here? What is this? Can store medical supplies in this emergency box. You need a plug to open this emergency box. I do not have enough plugs. Tragic.
I didn't like. I kind of remembered this, but not really. But when I looked it up, I saw what the deal with those weird boxes is. Those are like, you know, in Resident Evil in the safe room, you get the big box
Yeah.
that can store infinite items. In this, there's 3 different types that hold different items, and you need items to unlock them. You need plugs to open them. So if you do that green one, it'll have some stuff in it already, and then you can put any healing items you get in it. And if you open another green one, you can get them back out.
I don't like that.
Yeah, but it's only for healing items, not for bullets. Those go in the yellow one or something.
Is this a shotgun? Be a shotgun. Pick it up. It's a shotgun. Got her shotgun.
We do not currently have bullets equipped to the shotgun.
That's
We
true.
own many bullets, but she hasn't bothered to put them in.
Collect the code disc with the same mark and set both parts into the door. It's the DDK disc. That's the H1. That's the one for the second floor.
Yeah, I also
seems-
wrote that in my notes.
Nice. Are you the official note taker? I can let you do all the notes.
Now we can do double notes. No.
We can compare.
Yeah.
Sorry, this menu.
Oh, is this a save room?
I think so. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the handgun. Files are scattered.
There are
I'm scared
big
to go
F's
into-
on the door, so I'm on the map, so it better be a dang save room.
Right. I'd assume so.
Maybe it's in the other bit? I assume since the... Oh.
Computer? On the screen is an email titled New Employee Education. Will you read the email? Please inform
Oh,
the
it's
new
about
employee
the
assigned.
DDS.
Right? Okay, yeah. No, I understand. I am scared to go into this room.
Why? Why? It's nice in there. What do you mean, scared? It's a save room. What could happen? Oh, okay. That's how you save.
I'm glad we figured this out. I feel a little better knowing that we have a save spot now.
Does it save when we go through that door? Is it like a one-time save?
Gina,
Might be a one-time
I took care of the
save.
shutter. You should be able to access the control panel.
I want to go back in the room.
There's even more blood on this
Already?
side.
That was quick.
It
Right?
just don't get better.
Hey girl, just get going.
Ah! I'm on the side with the dinosaur. Back into the room we go. Let's go check out that dead body.
He's fine.
Is this the antenna key? Panel key 2!
Panel key 2.
Appears to be a panel that can unlock the electronic lock. Where's panel key 1? He's been gouged in the torso.
Hey, when that happens.
There's a panel here that accepts a numeric code. When you enter a number.
Try the one we got again.
Absolutely. Nothing happened. It's worth a shot. Personal property of the guardsman. Nothing useful. Okay, well, unfortunate. We read that. Ugh, but what's on the other side? Rooms that we haven't been into, but rooms that dinosaurs can probably bust into. This is horrible. Oh! It saves every time.
Nice.
Or can, if you decide to. No! Dinosaur, no! I was afraid I was gonna get... Oh! No.
Oh no.
No, no, pick it up! Pick it up! Pick it up! You fool!
Damn, it is something useful. Please.
I promise it's a thing we want! Ah! No! Dinosaur, please! Punch that dinosaur! Grab the thing!
Why did they hit your arms?
Because they're bad arms. Get out of here, get out of here, it's time to go. There's a key up there and I want it! Fuck!
Velociraptor's key now.
Ugh. It's horrible. Nothing happens. Raptor, are you gonna come out here? Hey, bud! It'd be really cool if you came out here. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
Don't do it. There is something useful, though.
Okay, this is fine. Thank you, dinosaur. This is fine. Dinosaur, please! Okay. Well, we're not doing too hot. I am bleeding, and I don't think I have anything for that. Nope. Absolutely not. None thing.
Yeah.
But I do have both keys!
Yeah.
I would like to save in a different spot. There we go.
This is a special bleeding to death file.
Yes. Save 2 will always be, this is precarious, but I would like to save anyway. Save 1 will be, this is a safe save. Actually, no. I will always be checking my map every 10 seconds. No one can stop me ever. This is how we got in, right? So... let's go down those stairs. Where do those stairs take us? That's where Buddy is. I can't get to the stairs. Right. I remember now. JK, back into the vent with us. Let's go. This is fine. I like that there is that like clicking sound anytime she goes up into the vents.
Sounds like a mouse click.
Yeah! Okay, so that's the only other vent that we can go through. Okay, understood. It was worth a look, because I am very bad and unobservant.
I think ladies should try harder to keep her blood from falling out.
I do think she should also try harder.
Stick it back in.
I was gonna suggest like putting her fingers in the wounds. Just plug up the teeth bites with that. It'll be fine. Okay. We'll continue to bleed everywhere. This is not the door.
It was the second floor one that we got the things for.
I think I got the N one too, though. Did I not?
Okay, so you did.
I was pretty sure I did. We've gotten both, I think.
I thought they were 2 bits, and we got both the bits for H. We have.
Oh, we do. Okay, you're right. You're right. This is fine. All right, H door. Let's go.
I don't remember where we got the disc for H.
We'll find it. It's fine, I'm sure.
We've already got it, but if we had to restart, Haven't written down where it is. The code is in the locker room.
Yeah. It's right there. I see where it is. It's right where the dinosaur likes to hang out. I hope the dinosaur is kind and lets me input these before
he's
it
away.
attacks me. I also hope he's away.
Maybe he's on holiday.
No, he's not. He's
Not on
chomping
holiday?
away over there. He's chomping away. Yeah,
You wouldn't bite someone while they're doing a puzzle, would you?
he's got manners. So it's H, not D. That was supposed to be an E. Is it head? It's head. Code is head.
That's quite... They've said a lot of words about it. I can see how all the employees were very confused.
You just get
But
rid
it's
of the...
actually fairly easy.
Right, you just get rid of the letters that they tell you right there. It's simple. Oh god. Ah,
Yeah,
did
see?
it. I read that as chef's room for a second.
Survivor.
Bump!
Are you from the rescue
Sam.
team?
Yes, I am. Do you know where I can find Dr. Kirk?
You are a hemostat too.
What's he plotting now?
I would
What are
like
you talking
some
about?
hemostat. Stat, please.
Here. Take
Immediately. Is it a hemostat?
Sure.
this. I don't know. Told me extremely vital.
Oh, okay. I thought man was just giving us his garbage for a second. Hey!
Oh, penalty one.
Go us. Bullets! Shotgun bullets!
Oh,
This
that'll be the
again.
N one.
We need one more. Is there anything else over here? Small objects are neatly placed here.
Can we take the small objects and jam them in the bite holes?
Can we just comment on how tall this Newton's cradle is? Incredibly tall. Why? Why is it so tall, sir? You have anything else on you? No. Horrible. I
Proper
bet-
about Newton's cradle.
How could you forget about them? Staple
No,
in
I've
every
got
office.
better about them.
Oh! Tell.
Can't remember the setup, but one of the rappers were talking about how someone like the tweet a big game, but the not ad actually. Said he's got the balls of steel, but only at computer tables like a Newton's cradle.
Oh! Got him. Got a rap battle bar for everything. Facts. I need to go back in there. Oh no. I think the panel keys are for the antenna?
Could be.
Question mark?
And we can get there relatively easily if the guy doesn't turn around.
Ah! The dinosaur, please! Oh god! He take nap right there! He take nap right there. Horrible. Horrible.
She does she can tell when she's poorly from when she tries to open the door.
Just
Horrible.
stumbles around. I forgot I have to go into my dang menu and be like, hey, use this thing. Hey, this thing, use it. Cannot be used here. Okay. Where else can we go? Maybe there's nothing else up here. Maybe... Maybe it's actually all bad here.
Maybe we should go home.
Maybe it's time to... Oh! I wonder if I can use them in the room that Friend is in?
Oh, maybe.
Because we needed key cards for that. I mean, it said a key card, but, you know, it's worth a shot. And then we can also save. Or die. Maybe we'll die. Why do you keep napping there? Dinosaur, listen! It's a bad place for a nap. Head raptor. Oh, Regina, I'm so sorry.
I think she stopped bleeding, but I'm not sure if that's because all of her blood has fallen out.
She no longer has any blood. Also, hi Travis. It is true, animals like to sleep in front of doors. And thank you for the contribution to the gummy hunt. Forgot to say thanks to you earlier, Fruity. But, you know, that's fine. You don't need my thanks. That's a lie. Thank you. Okay, can I, like, check these? Appears to be a panel that can unlock an electronic lock. That is unhelpful. What does the other one say?
Need to work out the riddle of these panel locks.
This is horrible. Can I use it on the entrance? No, I need an entrance key. Is this where I'm going? Bo, thank you for the contribution as well. Hi, friend. I need to go to the door next to the stairs, which is over here. How's it going, Bo? How are you doing?
Hi, Bo.
I'm trying.
There was somewhere where we turned the panels next to the laser green, right?
Yeah, I think it's in the other hallway.
Is that the one we've been down, though?
Maybe.
Or is this a new one? There are a lot of hallways with lasers
There's
in them.
so many hallways. This game is fantastic, actually.
Oh no, it's the one.
Yeah. I was trying to... Before
Have
we
we-
do that...
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Have we done what? Have we
I was
what?
gonna ask, have we been down there? Or is...
I think we've been on the other side
Yeah, I thought
of the
so
laser.
too.
But before we do that, I want to go to the save room, check to see if we can use the panel keys on the thing in Rick's room? Is his name Rick? Chad?
I think it's Rick. I think it's Rick. I did not think it was Chad. Hang on, it's in the guide.
What is man's name?
Rick. Rick is probably the most fun guy out of the entire squad of his agency. But the task, not the reason why he was sent with the team. Rick is exceptionally well trained when it comes to computers and security terminals. He can crack just about any code in a matter of minutes. And since this island is mostly activated by computer technology, Rick's assistance in this mission is a must.
Not the computer technology. 1999 was a different time. Oh my gosh.
Watch out though, because his combat skills are not as good as the other members, but he can take care of himself and fire off some rounds, if the occasion calls for it. We need to convince him that the dinosaurs are real, and that he can shoot some bullets.
He's looking at the monitors! How can he not know that they're not real? Going to forever scream about this. How many other frat names can we think of aside from Rick, Chad, Hans, Taylor, Dalton, Chris? Trying to think of generic white man names. Specifically in like the 4-letter category. Matt.
Not quite a generic white man name, but the other guy on your squad is Gale. which is 4 letters. It meets some of the criteria.
It does. It does. Gale would be like he's got a unique enough name that he's probably like the head of the squad. He is the main man in the fraternity.
Well, Gale
Bradley,
is one of the
too.
best agents there is out there.
No.
There's no doubt that he was chosen as the leader of this operation.
Anything to read this guide, huh? Bradley would work because it does get shortened to Brad. This is acceptable. Carl? Yeah, I guess. We got Rick in there. We did get Rick. Bradley is what his father calls him when he's mad at him. What else? What other bad names? Do you wanna... Yes, I wanna go into the vent opening. Frat boys. Are we... What I'm hearing is the, agency that Regina works for is just full of frat boys. And I hate that for her. Imagine how busy Will this dinosaur kill itself on the lasers?
So, please, keep touching the laser. Oh, is he dumb as hell? This might be
the play right now. Does this hurt him, though, is the question, or does it just knock him back?
When we shoot through the laser, if it doesn't hurt him.
Can we? I don't think we can.
That's a problem. She's aiming at him, but I didn't see blood.
It does hit him through it.
So, stop falling over, we need to shoot you. It's called strategy.
Any win is a good win.
Yeah.
We're doing Dark Souls rules here. Yeah. It might not. They do take a lot of hits, is the thing. So, I don't know if we want to science this and see if the lasers will eventually kill Dinosaur.
Takes a lot of hits.
I thought he wasn't getting up for a second.
Taking so many hits.
It did take, like...
Took like 15 bullets?
Something like that.
Kill one?
And I imagine laser hurts less than bullet. It is true, there is no blood when he hits the laser.
He has walked in the laser about 4,000 times. Okay. Shotgun does do damage. This is confirmed.
I think I want to keep the handgun on for most of the time.
Shotgun for special occasions.
Yeah.
The one when we get to the Gad's pie.
Oh!
Are
you dead? Are you dead now? It's dead now. It's leaking.
Ari rules. You have to wait for the pool of blood to form, otherwise he's fine.
This tracks. Also, this is the hallway that we've already been in!
Ah!
Ah! This is horrible. I guess there's things that I haven't like really looked at in this hallway though, because there was a dinosaur.
That's true.
Yeah, we got the shortcut.
The locker room.
Oh!
Needs to be
Rick! Rick, fix it. I love Chris Redfield. He's an absolute goober. Stupid war nerd.
Well, yeah, we love love Chris here.
It's true.
Punches rocks.
He is a boulder punching asshole.
He lets you borrow his tank. Because it's the only way he can show emotion.
Won't even let himself cry in the helicopter. It's tragic. Okay, there's like nothing in here. I've gotten everything that I need in here. Oh, this is horrible.
Noah Javert did an incredibly long
Isn't it
video
like
as
7
Beaver for
hours?
7 hours about every Resident Evil game.
I only just finished his 5-hour Dark Souls one like yesterday or the day before. Oh no, I do have to watch the Resident Evil one. Eventually.
Wasn't super happy with Village. Didn't really like Resi 4. When we were talking about the characters, he pointed out that the only way Chris Redfield can show emotion is through sharing his military hardware. So you must be really good friends because he lets you borrow his tank.
This tracks though. Noah Javert, he's very good.
Noah Caldwell Gervais on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, either I or Fruity will post one of his videos in Discord at some point, so you can see it. It's very good. He really liked Dark Souls 2. You would like him. Okay.
Yeah, big fan of Dark Souls 1 and 2, and he thought 3 were the weakest.
He brings up some good points about why it is, though, and I can respect that. But yeah, it's good. I like his videos. This is still not on, and I can't get over
Is that a panel that we can use a key on?
This one?
Yeah! No, it does look like just background, but...
Let me just rub my face on it a bit. I didn't think it was gonna work, but it was worth a try. There is a vent on the other side, but I don't know where it connects to.
I'm gonna look at my FAQs card now.
Perfect. I can probably get back outside? Where is my destination, actually? It's nowhere. We don't have a destination, actually. Great. I love that for me. I'm gonna go try and get back outside. Let's go back into the vent that we can get into. Go all the way out. Go back out to where the dinosaur is outside.
Keep saying, hey, just ignore the raptors. Just don't even give them the time of day.
I mean, that is correct. I will only mess with them if I absolutely have to.
Do we have entrance key?
No.
And we missed a file is the problem.
Oh. Thank you for the clip, Bo. Does it say where the file is located? Generally.
In the locker room, there is a blue file on the table. The table is destroyed. The dinosaur jumped on the table.
There. Huh.
This is a problem.
This is definitely an issue.
We can check back there, and if the table's still destroyed, it does say what the code is in the guide.
Oh, is that the code where we got the one key? I don't know if any of that means anything to you. I think I know where I'm supposed to input that, though. This is...
I think it's the big safe.
Yeah. This is not where I want to be. I am very bad at knowing where anything connects. If I'm not directly staring at a map, I don't know where I am. This is not... No, it is! I want to...
Yeah.
This is a way to get where I need to go. I might as well. Again, we'll do it on save 2. Because save 1, we are not hurt. And maybe I could do better. I'll take Lady just limping everywhere for the time being, though. Okay, this is the locker room.
Yeah. Apparently there should have been a folder on the table. But then a dinosaur jumped on the table.
There it is.
Blue book. Okay, he looks like garbage, but he would have stood out more if the table still existed.
Yeah. Alright. Journal of the Guardman. A page is dated today. Will you read it? For tonight's experiment, the Chief and Dr. Kirk will be having a meeting at the second floor lounge from 1 p.m. Those who are scheduled to guard should be a preponderant. Keep a preponderant. Alright.
Word of the day was preponderant.
I thought it was kerfuffle. Gonna find out how to use preponderant in a title for tomorrow. Just pointing that out there. Yeah, those on guard should keep a preponderant eye on the area in front of the Chief's room and the surrounding vicinity. Before taking positions, be sure to resupply your ammunition in the custody room. The weapon storage in the custody room can be opened with the combination 0426. I am throwing my pencil everywhere. 0426. Also, we've received information that spies have sneaked into the facility recently. Hi, Devo. If anything happens, you may have to enter the rooms of the Chief and the Professor in order to ensure their safety. You will find the disc that contains the information you will need to access the rooms on the top of the
Devo.
locker. That's all for now. Is he crying? Yeah?
That's just cool.
Woo! Yeah? You wanna come say hi? Come here! Come on! Devo! You gotta say hello. Come here. Come on! Yes! Yes, it is the boy! It is the Devo! Can you say
The
hello?
other goob.
What is the other goober? Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Oh, hello! He says, no, you can't show me off, you have to hold me. Can you say hi? Evo. He looks panicked, but I promise he enjoys this.
He always
Yeah.
looks panicked.
It's true, that's just his face. That's just what the boy looks like. Can I turn you into a ball? Can we have a ball moment? The way that he is just putting out his little tootsie. Yeah. Hi. He is a chunky baby. Okay. On the floor you go. I love you. Even if you do. Put fur all over my face. This is fine. It's fine.
Shout out Devo. Everyone check out Devo's channel. We're pretty sure he has one, and that's what he's hooting about in the background.
He streams on a different level than the rest of us. I don't know if any of us can access the platform on which he streams. But that's Devo and we love him, and he's a very good boy. He likes to hoot and holler about all the things. I have so much goddamn fur on my face. Hold on, I'm so sorry. This is horrible. He is shedding, and it's awful.
During the break, we can learn about Rick. Not Rick. We've learned about Rick. What about Gale?
No, I don't know that I want to learn about Gale.
Gale has perfect aim with the guns and can shoot anything from a far off distance. But those are just his skills which appear on paper. Personally, Gale is one of the coldest men on the face of the planet. He almost always has a blank look on his face. And whenever he's on a mission, the only thing on his mind is his objective.
Gale.
It's one of those ellipses. Whatever. Types.
No! Not a squall! Not a squall type!
Might be a bit of a skull.
Oh no. Also, I didn't see the smiley clip. I don't think I did. Gotta share it. I need to see it. I'll probably watch it after stream. But I'm here for it. Bo does some of the best. Actually, no, JK, we're gonna watch it right now. I decided, actually. Boop. Can you see this? No, you can't.
I
Okay,
can't.
that's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I'll watch it with a bit of a delay on your stream.
I need window capture. That's why it's not showing up, because it's not... I've got it labeled as the wrong thing. This is fine. I know what I'm doing. No, I don't. I don't know what I'm doing. Ever, actually. Please. There it is. Oh, you can see my tabs. Oh well.
You don't have enough tabs, is the problem, I think.
It's true.
You need to have 40 more tabs.
Pro streamer, it's me. Oh, sometimes I can't read. Sometimes I'm not capable of reading.
Same.
When you kiss pussy, you get hair in your mouth. You should. PSA. When you kiss pussy, you get hair in your mouth. You should be careful.
Hmm?
It's not wrong. Hi, Uncles. That's our friend Smiley.
Checking up
Did
on
it-
Smiley.
Did appreciate that. Also, since we're here, hold on. If y'all don't follow Smiley, you should, because she's hilarious. Also, you should follow Fruity.
I'm Fruity.
You're Fruity! Because Fruity is delightful. Who else do we have in here? Sylvie. Sylvie's also here.
Nam keeps threatening to do a stream again.
Nam, you gotta do a stream! I'm gonna shout you out. I'm gonna cheat and just do an @ because I don't want to type out your whole dang name. But, Nam, you gotta do a stream. Listen.
Gotta do it now, but you gotta shout out.
You did, it's true. I have shouted you out, therefore you have to do a stream. But
That's
you
the
should
law.
You should you should go follow all my friends, because my friends are great. Listen, my friends are great. My friends are great. Oh,
Oh,
boy.
friends. Oh, this gang of weirdos. Y'all are great.
Honestly, though, I get sentimental on stream very regularly, but I love my friends. I'm so happy I started streaming and meeting all these cool people. I've also forgotten where we're going. We're going upstairs, aren't we? No. Yes. No.
Oh shoot,
yes.
I forgot. Wait, what?
We're trying to go
No,
to the big safe, which is upstairs. Right?
I can't remember. I thought it was just next to the computer room? The save room? I might be wrong though. I think I thought everything was there.
It's not everything is there actually.
Yeah.
Honestly though, Bo, I love my friends. Is it
The safe upstairs with the one with the Glock stuff in it, right?
Yeah, and there is no
We
other
opened that
room
one.
up there. We haven't opened that one.
We did once, but
And
then we died. But it's fine.
So we still have to open it. At some
Okay.
point.
But it's not the one we just got the code because we already have that one. The problem
Yeah.
isn't not having the code. It's
The problem
it's-
is not knowing where the safe is. It's fun. It's not here. There's laser in the way over here. Also, yeah, I'm gonna steal these dinosaurs' life savings because I am a I don't know what I'm trying to say. I was gonna make a joke about being a capitalist, but I lost it entirely.
I've unlocked the shutters near the entrance.
Are you shitting
you
me, Rick?
motherfucker.
I just caught a glimpse
Right.
of something on the monitor that looked human. It should be somewhere near the front of the training room. So, check there first.
I'm going to go to the room that Rick is sitting in, and I am going to beat his ass.
Yeah, bring the shotgun. Go see Rick.
Okay, let's go see Rick. Okay, this is fine.
Just needed to
Everything's
read
fine.
that stupid file.
Horrible. Terrible. Okay, but knowing that this is a thing, I can and will be more attentive to my surroundings.
Books are very important. Knowledge.
Can't go
Even
there.
better than driving around your Lamborghini in the Hollywood Hills.
There are so many things happening right now, and I love it. That's...
Very good pun. Thank you, Travis.
Oh my god. Where am I? What's happening? How am I supposed to get there? Oh, I love all of you so dang much. Okay, we have to go into the safe room so that we can go see Rick. Because
Guess we're going to murder him.
I'm gonna murder him, but there are shutters over there. Specifically, there are shutters past Rick. So we'll shoot Rick. Oh, fucking hell. We'll shoot Rick. We'll go into the shutters.
Those were green! Those were green!
Were they green? Oh no.
Yeah, we can open those, I think.
If they're red, I'm going to yell. They're green.
Green!
Okay. You were spared me just screaming. Which means I can go up here, but before we do that... What horrible things are down here? There's gonna be a dinosaur that jumps through these fucking windows, isn't there?
That'd never happen.
Door's locked from the other side. Are you shitting me right now? Danger! I'm gonna go. It's time to go. Bye, dinosaur. I've played Resident Evil. I know how these hallways go. Wait. This looks incredibly familiar. Wait.
This is where we get to Rick.
Could I have just gone over there the whole time?
I feel like that were locked a lot of the time.
I don't know that I checked because I thought I came from there.
I know you did too.
This is fine. This is fine. Hey, Rick! Hey, buddy! Hey, friend!
What's the deal with this place anyway?
Is that all you have to say? Oh, Rick.
He's working for the dinosaurs.
Yeah, he is. Okay, so when you say shutter, you mean lasers.
Same thing.
When you say shutter, you mean laser. This is not where I wanted to be. I don't think I wanted to be here. No.
I thought we were in the room with the guy got it.
Yeah, but I don't remember where that. Oh.
Next to the server, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got this.
Yeah.
People say we're bad at directions. Unbelievable.
0426. 0426. Only sometimes.
Thank God. It was the right one.
I was gonna cry if I wrote it down wrong.
I wrote it down as well, so we both have had to write it down wrong.
Okay, but
This is a good system.
but also, I wouldn't be surprised if we did.
How dare you?
Can I mix? No, because it's a.
Can we make resuscitation?
No. I didn't think we could, but it was worth a look. Now we know. Okay.
Good to have it.
Yeah. Okay, so we can open the entrance now. Yes, I would like to save. We will continue to save over to... Great. No, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. It's fine. It's fine. Also, I did get a new controller. It's red.
Nice, mine's red.
Hey, twinsies!
Yeah.
0246. I mean, yeah. What? Depends on the keyboard. It's not a diamond pattern on mine. I can see that though, being a shapes, remembering as opposed to numbers. What is your password in shapes?
And also the 3 funny little numbers on the back of the card.
No reason. Don't tell me your information. I don't think anyone would, but also just to clarify, please don't do that. Don't do it.
Did you all know if you type your password in chat, it replaces it with stars?
Okay, but honestly,
See?
I've had somebody say that before. And some sad person definitely did it, and it's like, oh no, don't do that.
Oh no.
Please don't do this. I think I have to tell you not to do this. It's a joke.
You type Hunter 2 is the meme.
Don't do it.
I think it's an old school RuneScape from like actually in the 90s.
Yup. Legally, we have to say that this is a bit. I mean, like a lot of people lost their passwords that way, I think.
Oh no.
I remember the days of RuneScape. People were brutal. I also remember everyone like saying like if you were in a party.
Used to trim armor for people, by which he'd tell them to put down their armor so he could trim it and then just pick it up and leave.
Yeah, I do remember that there was like also like a PvP issue where like people would be like, if we were in a party and you turn on PvP, I can't hurt you or something like that, and they would take them out to like the forest and just murder them, and then steal their shit and walk away. And it's like, this is terrible. Why would we do this? Also, we got the other code. We got the other disc.
Nice.
Secret code to beat a boss is Alt F4. Terrible. Horrible. Don't do these things. The file and personnel changes. We read the file. Personal changes of researchers. Old section. Special aircraft experiment room. New section. Third energy physics laboratory. Registration number 57036. Name Mark Doyle. Do I need to know the registration number? I shouldn't need to know the registration number. What if I need to know the registration number?
Right now.
57036. I also wrote it down. Can we look at this corpse?
That is just a blob.
It is just a blob. But the blob had an aid! Travis, please. Travis, please. Can I go through here? It's locked. Sign says, teleport ahead! Great. And I got the thing that was over here. There's gonna be another freaking dinosaur that jumps out at me.
I don't think there's any more dinosaurs. I think we've seen all of them. How many dinosaurs could there possibly be in one secret lab?
At least 5. At least.
5's enough, I think.
I don't know. What if they throw in 6?
That'd be ridiculous.
We have both of the codes for this.
Nice!
Let's go.
Now we have a very difficult puzzle to do.
Oh
Oh
god.
no.
Actually. N A B D F G H. A B D.
New?
Yeah. Yeah.
New?
Hold on. A B D F G H O. Oh. Nope. A B D F G H. New WOM. D E F G. Wait. New woman? No.
New woman. New woman. I have no idea.
This isn't a word.
New woman? Newcomer!
I missed the C, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait.
New JJ.
There's too many things to look at. No, stop! Why does it keep skipping things? Please. I hit it once and it's like you wanted to skip 2, right? No. I just wanted to move over the once. There's too many letters to look at. Oh no.
Oh. It's never good when you see all the... Oh, it's fine, it's just from this corpse.
He is wearing white! Actually, I think he's wearing blue and red.
Mostly red.
It's mostly red. It's possibly a researcher. Is it the researcher's assistant? The clown? From FF8?
We think there's no way a dinosaur could have eaten that much cola.
Data has been saved. You can view the map on the map screen. Hey, this is... Okay. Sure.
See how all the rooms link together now. This is good.
Not the blue and gold. That terrible dress. Door's been unlocked! Great. Where does this go?
It's blue and gold and it says Yaneth on it. I can't remember what the other thing was.
I also don't remember. Unaid! We get a lot of unaids and not a lot of literally anything else. Yes, push the switch. No, don't push it again. Where am I? No, this is the elevator hall. This is where we just came from. Please. Okay. 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 Look, we're making progress!
Yeah, we are.
We're doing great, actually.
We're in a whole new bit.
We're doing great, actually. I do like this game. Ah!
There's a red file on the table.
Yeah, there is.
Probably got a code in that we need.
Ah! No!
Oh god. It's fine, I think it's scripted. I don't think you can actually jump on the table.
File containing notices written to the staff. Yes, I will read the file. Give me just a second, Raptor. We're reading files.
Don't bite me, I'm busy.
Don't bite me. Can't bite me, I'm safe. I'm safe. 3 years have passed since the tragic disaster. Performance of the newest stabilizer will be tested in tonight's experiment. 3 years ago, the Third Energy destroyed the facility and killed as many as 150 personnel just from a single overflowing accident. So, to prevent a similar disaster from happening, we will take every possible precaution to reinforce our security. One more thing. We recently had a case in which someone used the terminal in this room and forged a fake ID to gain unauthorized access. Sounds like we need to make a fake ID. Today, we're going to have a meeting in the strategy room on how to cope with the problem. In any case, all personnel should protect the security of the terminal. Anyone leaving this room unattended should lock the door without fail. They did a bad job at that. Okay. Dinosaur, please. Dinosaur, please! You just rammed me into the fucking wall! Buddy, I'm stuck on a corner! Okay, maybe we leave the room right now. Maybe we just leave the room for right now. We'll come back in a little bit. Ah!
Oh, you had to see it.
Oh
That's
no.
a window guy.
Yeah, it is. Oh god! Oh!
Not even boss.
Oh, oh no. Okay. Okay. I want that. I want that. I want that. I can't get that.
Oh,
I don't have the key. I don't
I
think.
remember this place.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a key. I want that though. We're not doing great.
Been a room.
Oh. It's, yeah. Yeah. Also, we've been streaming for 2 hours. Do we want to take a short break?
I can do a shop break.
I need some more water.
Yeah.
And I could do with moving my fan so it's pointed more towards me because it's getting hot again. It is 31 degrees Celsius here. And it's horrible. I don't know why my weather app is stuck on Celsius, but it is. It's in the 80s. It's in the high 80s. And it's horrible. Alright, so let's take a short break.
Switch it to Celsius so you can tell me how hot it was.
Probably, but I thought I had changed it back to Fahrenheit, but apparently I did not. It's gross. I am supposed to expect rain tomorrow, though. I'll believe it when I
Nice.
see it. It's 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's too hot.
That's too many degrees.
That is far too many degrees. Normally we
Someone
like
should
big
fix
numbers.
that. Someone
We
should see
should.
about that. That doesn't sound right.
They're not gonna see about it. It's horrible. It's only 19% humidity at the moment, though.
Nice.
No soup air today. Yet. But we'll see. So yeah, we'll do a short break. I might grab a quick snack. I ate before we streamed, but snacks are good. So yeah, get some water, stretch, use the restroom, eat something.
Everyone look after yourself.
Yeah, self-care, it's important. So we will BRB. Bye. Hey!
Hear
Hey!
hear a voice from somewhere.
It is I! She who is afeard of dinosaurs! Oh? Oh?
It's,
Clicking things. This is fine. It's fine.
is that Regina? Who I can hear? I-
I don't know if Regina's scared of dinosaurs, but she definitely wants to do a murder on them.
I hear that Regina is the rookie member of the secret team, but she is high on experience. Having gone through several missions herself, she's one of the best trained operative in the agency.
Dang.
Regina has more than enough skills to back up her good looks and nice attitude towards people.
You know what? At least she's capable. I love Jill. Do not get me wrong. I love Jill, but she is very damsel-y in the first game at points.
In the third, she makes up for.
Oh,
Kinda.
100%. 100%. Like, she definitely, like, kicks
In the
ass
third,
later
she's
on.
just a badass, and not even like, because the other characters like go too far into being a badass. It's like they're not like believable humans. They're like weird Superman.
Nah,
Jill
Jill's
in
got...
3 is the perfect point where she's just like a tough lady.
Absolutely. No, like I said, I love Jill. Do not get me wrong. This is not meant to be slander against her, but she's very like in the first Resident Evil, she's sort of oh no the whole time, and it's just because she's inexperienced and doesn't know how to do all the things. That's fine. But it's nice to have a lady character show up and be like, I'm gonna kick some ass, especially this early on in like video games and stuff. I mean, like I know that like I don't know, I feel like there were a lot of like really good female protagonists, specifically in like the late 90s, early aughts. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's like this is Lara Croft, this is Joanna Dark. You got a
Yeah.
few.
Yeah. But I don't know. I dig it. We like us some tough ladies.
Yeah.
Tough, capable ladies. I have lost my pencil. My pencil is gone now.
Oh no.
That's fine. It fell on the floor. I do see it. It's not lost, but it is too far for me to go grab.
Are you from the first 2 Parasite Eves? Yeah. We don't talk about the third one.
Oh dang. Oh dang. Parasite Eve might be on our list of things to potentially play at some point. Maybe.
Parasite Eve 1 slaps. I think you'd like it.
I'm down to I like revisiting these older games. Oh, I should probably turn on the sound.
The combat's a bit of a mess in Parasite Eve, but the actual oh dear.
Oh god.
Hey,
Regina, please
look
get
at
up.
the whole main corridor.
Right.
I forgot it was floor.
I'm passing on the left. Please.
Oh.
That's okay. We do have our resuscitation item, so it's fine. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. But yeah, I kind of like. I want to revisit a lot of like these older games, especially in the like horror genre, because I feel like I've missed a lot of them, just given that like, you know, I was a baby when these came out.
Yeah, I was too young to be able to play video games well, and they tended to be like harder than Super Mario.
Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna get there.
And so it's like I said, like with this one, like I experienced it because my friend's brother was playing it, which was like cool. It was a good introduction to like these more quote unquote intense games that as an idiot child I couldn't do. But yeah, I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going, and I need my my D-pad to not skip options. We We're going into that red room. That room that is red.
Yeah.
How do I get there?
The
Door.
corridor?
Yeah.
Corridor.
Yeah. It's this room over here. And then... Hi, Jesse. It's our good friend McMuffin fucker.
Hello, McMuffin fucker.
How's it going, though, buddy? It's been a minute. How are you doing? We got a plug.
Nice. There's a red one there. I think that's ammo?
Ammo. Speaking of, since Jesse is here, and the last time I watched Jesse do a stream, it was, or the last time that I, like, distinctly remember a Jesse stream was, you were playing Prey, which I didn't hang out for very long because I wanted to play Prey. I now have Prey. It's free on the Epic Store if anybody wants it. That's gonna happen sometime soon.
Hey, Prey's pretty good.
I've heard that Prey, kind of a good game.
I really liked it.
I am excited to finally play it. Yeah, no, and that's fair. You gotta take care of you. But just know that we miss you. Where am I and where am I going? You got it from, it was an AI dungeon reference, isn't it? Well, from a run in AI dungeon that you've done. Am I remembering this right? What was that sound? Lamia.
AI dungeon, please behave. Why?
Specifically to bother you. Okay, this is the door that I want to go through. Look, McMuffins? Fucking slap. I don't know that I would take it that far with a McMuffin, but do love me a good, just love me an English muffin with sausage. I would like a McMuffin now. Oh no. What is happening? No! What is going on? Okay, I don't have to do. Oh, wait, maybe I do have to do. This is horrible! I don't like this. Not one bit.
Rude.
This is terrible. How could they do this to me? I swear to God, if they try to bust in here, I am going to die. Even before they get to me, I will just keel over. Cease to exist. Hi, Key. Oh, I can't reach you from here. But yeah, hi friend, how are you doing? Things are wild. Please!
They need to leave.
This is too... Why is it... I know it's dangerous. What am I supposed to do?
When it says danger, mash all the buttons, I think is what you do.
Okay.
I think it's the
Still
direction
alive.
button and
Good
like
time.
action and fire.
Okay, I can
What
do
is
that.
Another lizard?
That's no lizard. It's a dinosaur.
That's no lizard.
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur is a lizard though, is the
Something's
thing.
really wrong
Dinosaur
with
is an
this.
overgrown
This
lizard.
whole mission
Just a
is
gex, big.
It's just a
It's
gex
always
muffin.
eaten out in the battlefield. No matter who. or what
Probably
they're up
looks like a fried egg.
against. Any word on the dock yet?
These dinosaurs are so green
I've
and
gotta hook
pleasant,
up
it's
with
making me
Ricky.
nervous.
My radio's dead, and he's the only one who can fix it.
Oh no. I think I would recommend you play Dino Crisis. It handles much better than I was anticipating. Like, I mean, the controls are clunky, but like, they're good? I like it. I say as I run into... Yeah! I don't necessarily feel like I'm fighting against the controls too much.
So, does that make it like better than Resident Evil controls?
A little bit, yes. Oh, please. Oh, God! Oh, God!
A lot of running serpentine in this game.
Ah! I mean, they're tank controls. They are 100% tank controls. But they're, like, good. They're the good tank controls. You know, as opposed to the bad tank controls.
There is good and bad tank controls.
There are. There really are. Okay, I'm trying to go to the... I have the key for the outside. I understand where I'm going. You do get used to tank controls after a bit, but even then, like, there are still... I feel like there is still a distinction between good and bad tank controls. These ones are nice. I like these ones. Okay, I want to go through this door, because we're trying to get back outside. And, like, we've died a few times thus far, but we've had items where I don't necessarily have to reload, which is great. This is fine. I like it. I like this game. It's a good game. I'm gonna keep repeating it, but my only experience with Dino Crisis was my friend's brother playing it. And I had, like, good experiences with that. I thought it was cool. I was definitely scared. I was incredibly terrified the whole time. So it's fun to be able to...
some of the doors.
Yeah. They can bust through some of them, and it's horrible.
Yeah, you hear him hitting the door, and that means you've got a few seconds before one comes in.
It's awful and scary. And dinosaurs are scary. Can we all agree that dinosaurs are spooky? I wouldn't fight a dinosaur. Battery
Don't
set in
fight
the
a
battery
dinosaur.
charger! Yes. The instructions distinctly told me not to take the battery from downstairs up to the upstairs, but I'm gonna do it. Does it go in here?
Do we use it from the inventory? Oh, never mind.
Okay. And then it's red, blue, green, white. Red, blue, green, white. Red, blue, green, white.
Nice.
Okay. That's not what I wanted to do. I was just trying to skip the dialogue. It's fine. Center. Let's do right. Let's do left. And center. Red, blue, green, white.
Nice.
I got this. Yes. I do like the puzzles so far. We haven't really had to do anything too ridiculous, but it might happen.
Might get a bit Silent Hill.
Yeah. I love Silent Hill, but some of their puzzles are not fantastic.
I'm not a big fan of the piano puzzle.
No. I love old puzzles. I wish more games had puzzles like these. I say that now, and I will absolutely regret it if games start implementing that, but for the time being, I think I would like that.
The trick is, you can't work out what to do. You just look on GameFAQs. It's on GameFAQs.com.
I would like a new game, to like make a game FAQs page for their brand new game, like at the same time as their release.
Do it like proper old school style with the ASCII text.
Yeah.
Like, misspell every fifth word deliberately.
Yeah, or have like little like asides underneath like some of the things where it's like, look, I know I've gotten a lot of emails about this, and no, I'm not gonna change it. Those are some of my favorite parts of old guides.
Oh, there's no all you prep, stop flaming my guide.
Okay, do I have any dev friends that want to collaborate on this? Because I kind of like this idea and I want to get in on it. Let's go. Let's go. I'll write out your guide for you.
Get Arcade on the phone.
Honestly.
Writing the Game FAQ's guide for Cemetery Mirror.
Yes, please. I want my sweater back. I gave you back your poster, now give me back my sweater. Okay, we're not doing too hot, but that's okay. Where are we going? We are going back to where friend is. Rick.
Did we use that plug? I saw a green one somewhere.
We did not, and I think it's in the same hallway that Rick is in.
Nice.
So let's go. Do we only need one plug per— oh god. Why are you back? Why are you back? Why are you back? I killed you! That's the hallway I want to be in.
Oh no.
No. No, it's not. Okay, this is fine. This is the
It's the hallway we're in now. There's a dinosaur out the other door.
Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. I'm not entirely sure that it's fine.
I'm
No,
sure
it's fine. It's fine.
Nice.
Oh, we're hobbling. Oh, we hobbling.
When you're on the door, you are listening for like the claws tapping on the ground sound. I like that.
Absolutely.
That's a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it is. I would like...
I think we have 2 pages of stuff we can carry, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, it's just our notes. It's full of our notes.
it is. We're gonna get rid of some of these. We'll get a med pack. I guess we're getting 2 med packs. I will take all of the resuscitation packs, because those are important.
Combine recovery aids with the healing items.
Yeah.
Are they red herbs?
That is a good question. Oh my god, I have to sort all of this garbage. Okay, hold on. This is what we're doing right now. We're doing some inventory management.
You go in these.
First off, let's mix some stuff up. Mix that with... I can mix that with the hemostat. What does that do?
I think it tells you what it's gonna do. Ooh.
What does volume and level mean?
It's a higher level. It makes 2 of something.
Do we
that's
like
a high
that?
level med pack. I think. I don't know.
3 med pack, large plus are made. Okay,
Nice.
that was pretty good actually. Actually, that was pretty nice. We kind of liked that. Can I mix this with the hemostat? No. Well,
I don't know what any of this means.
yeah, this... Okay, maybe we do some science. Maybe we do some science right now. What does this give us? Prevent loss, it's just... Okay, so 2 hemostat pluses. Sure. That did give us more than what we had before, so I'm not mad about it. And then...
Boy, hemostat more plus.
3 med pack mediums.
Okay.
3 medium med packs. I'm happy with that.
We should probably put the one stacks away.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I think we came up better.
Yeah. I don't have any
Definitely
hemostat.
worth opening that. That was...
Oh, 100%. I was expecting like 1 or 2 items, not 5.
Yeah.
That was pretty great. Okay, can I want to put that on the other page, actually.
I want to stack all the anids in one pile, please.
Right. We do got that mystery mixing. It's fine. Let's do this one here. Put that there. I'm like trying to organize this at least a little bit while also trying to understand what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. No, I'm just trying to put... Okay, this is fine. Put that there, and then we'll put that there. And then we'll do the 2 med packs here. We'll put this here, and then put this over here, and then we'll put the resuscitation stuff on the last page. We'll take the dart, and then we'll put the dart here. Nope, I did that bad. Oh no. Put the dart there. And we do have the 1 med pack, which will go here. Put Annie there. And then we'll move everything down.
Track of the recipes we've discovered.
Smart! Smart. Okay, I like how this is organized right now. We'll keep all of our, like, active medical supplies at the top of the... Oh, there's a sort button. There's a sort button. There's a button to just immediately sort everything for me.
It's fine.
Okay, cool.
Give us time to think and not be attacked by...
Yeah. I needed a moment away from the dinosaurs. You know what? That's okay. It gave me a chance to just really look over all of our items. And now we know for the future. It's not like I've gotten through half of the game not knowing that there was a sort button.
Gail just told me.
Let's look on the bright side here.
It flashed by pretty quick. I'm sure I
have
saw
a
something.
meme for this.
Rick, open the shutter to the underground area.
Oh no.
What is it?
It's a distress signal from one of our team members. It must be Cooper.
Yeah, or it might be Tom. He infiltrated this facility posing as one of the
Tom!
researchers. Can you pinpoint the signal?
It's coming from outside of the building, to the east of the rear entrance we came in from.
I think the reference you're looking for, Regina, is it's coming
Deal
from
with it
inside the
later.
building. The call is coming from
First
inside the
priority is
house.
The survivor in the underground. It could be the doc.
Anyway,
What
I'm
are
trying
you
to find this stupid
talking
meme.
about? He's asking for our help. We don't leave our own behind.
or we
And what if it's
do.
a trap? Would you want one of us to come and rescue you?
Don't bother.
No.
We'll take that risk.
Remember our mission. We're not here to babysit.
Friends, if I'm ever in trouble and it's clearly a trap, don't fucking come for me. Don't do it.
All right. You have your access to the underground gate. So get moving. You handle your things your way. I'll handle my things my way.
That punk is really starting to get on my nerves. Regina, I'm heading out to investigate the underground.
I posted my stupid meme in... Oh no.
Ooh.
Oh no! I mean, we gotta go with Rick, because Gale's kind of an asshole, right? But also, Rick's idea is stupid.
I think I read that the canon ending is always trust Rick, but I could check if you want.
I guess at that point, it's do
Or
we
could we
want to
just-
try and go for the canon ending, or do we just want to do whatever? I'm down for either option.
Yeah, let's do whatever.
Alright, I think we're gonna go with Rick because I don't like Gale. We might end up accidentally doing a canon ending because I don't like Gale.
That's fair.
But also Rick's idea is stupid. But also Rick. Rick is an idiot and I love him. Okay, we have to go outside. Let's go. Stupid meme that I just posted. It's that sad cow staring out into the ocean. You know the one. It's that image. And it says, I am bad at video games, but I am free. And that's how I live my life. That's how I live my streaming life. I am bad at video games, but you know what? I am free. I am that sad cow. Same. Just longingly staring out into the ocean. I love that cow.
I have heard about this Tom that we're talking about, by the way.
Oh?
I hear that Tom is one of the most successful spy in some years now, and his spying skills were put to the test when he was asked to infiltrate the facility where Dr. Kirk was working on. Where Dr. Kirk was working on. He was the first person to send images of the Doctor very much alive, infiltrated the facility posing as one of the scientists, and in very little time was able to make it up to the high-class clearance people.
I have died.
Oh no, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was talking about Tom.
I was listening, but also I was one hit away from dying, and it's fine. It's fine.
Should've been
I like
well.
hearing about Tom. I think we like Tom. If Tom is telling on Kirk, I think we like Tom. No, wait, no, I don't want to save. We just saved. Tell me more about Tom.
But he made it up to the high-class clearance people. There's a velociraptor here.
Yeah. It's not great.
This is bad.
It's not great. It's okay.
Just go somewhere else.
Hey, we got lots of things that you can do with your channel points or with our bubbles. Uh-oh. Which voice mod would you like? I guess you also might not know which ones we have. I do have a button for random if you want to just have a random voice mod. Or if you have if you know voice mod and you know what sounds they have, I can choose one of those.
We got small Cash, we got big Cash, we got Lobster Man Cash.
No, we
got
don't.
all
We don't
the
have,
options.
we do not have Lobster Man. Lobster Man is still banned. There is a lobster ban. I think I got Cybertune. I do have Cybertune.
Oh no.
I got Cybertune and it should be on. For me, you won't be able to hear it because
Oh,
I
nice.
don't have it turned
I'm
on.
safe.
Well, in that case,
No.
let me. We can do Cybertune, and I'll set that 5-minute timer for you. There we go. Yeah, we got lots of reward options for channel points. Also, if you, I'm trying to enunciate because I don't know how horrible Cybertune sounds. They should all be fine. I did check before adding them to the list of options. I just don't remember what any of them sound like. But if you have channel points, we do have a community challenge up right now for a gummy hunt, which will play Elden Ring and look for some characters' gummies. You know how it is. Sometimes you just gotta look at someone's face insides. You need to be very careful about how I said that. so quick. It's fine. Everything is fine. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There. We got the voice mod option, obviously. We do have a draw option. I can draw you a pretty picture. This is not where I want to be. Give you some band recommendations. What else do we got? I'm trying to remember. There's some self-care options in there. Hydrate, stretches. And that's all I can think of at the moment. Okay, this is where I need to be. This is where we gotta go. I do appreciate the fact that it does tell me, like, where I need to go on the map. That's
We
very
still have
helpful.
Whisper Cash, which we normally redeem while Cash is screaming to
That is true.
make her have to try not to scream.
Forgot about Whisper Cage. Oh, God!
That's too
No!
many.
That's far too many, and there's stuff there, and I want it, but I can't get it. Why don't you pick it up, Regina? Oh, Regina, take that right here. Okay, this is horrible. This is horrible. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Literally getting bodied by these fucking raptors.
Slag bullets?
Just silently watching. Thank you for the follow. I'm gonna stretch Regina. Okay, hold on just a second. Let me not be where there are dinosaurs. I was gonna call them zombies, and that's incorrect. With any of the self-care stuff, it is recommended that you also do it with me, because if I have to take care of my dang self, then you have to take care of your dang self. Stretches are important, though. We have been kind of sitting around for a while. Oh, shoulders, please. Oh, thank you. How's it going? Just silently. Do you have a nickname that you would prefer me to call you? I can just call you Just Silently Watching if you want. But also want to extend that and see if there's a nickname you got. Welcome in. Hi. Thank you for the routine. We really, really appreciate it. Alright. Good stretch. There's too many. There's too many. This is just too many.
Someone put too many dinosaurs here.
I'll put these dinosaurs here. Maybe we do kind of take them out for a nice dinner. That's
Do
not
them with
me.
the slag bullets.
Good. Oh, you're right.
I mean, I don't know if we'll need the slag bullets later. I don't know how good they are.
Well, we could find out.
Would be good science.
It is good science. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that!
We know the pistol takes out about 1/1,000,000th of a raptor's health.
It's true. Oh no. Oh, I just wanted to get in here. I don't want to use all of my slag bullets. Or do I?
Oh my god.
Ah.
Did it?
Oh no. Maybe guns don't work. Maybe guns are bad. Maybe the raptors have the right idea.
That was a terrifying sound. Alright, voice mod time. All done.
All done. I forgot I had the voice mod on, actually. But it's done now. No more
I
voice
forgot
mod.
as well, because I can't hear it.
Because you can't hear it. I hope you enjoyed that. Oh my god, I hate these dinosaurs. Get fucked, my dude.
He does push him over good, but he don't really kill him.
Yeah, so slag bullets are good for stunning. Oh, those were regular bullets. That's why.
Yeah, you want dead. There's no blood. We know this secret. We've played Resident Evil.
Right? I was just trying to see, like, gauge how long it would take for him to get up, but then I was like, you know what, let's not, actually. Let's not wait. Alright. Cool. Well, yes, the Slack Bullet's good for stunning. Yes, I will take that, because I just used one. Thank you. I wish... I don't know what I wish. I wish. I wish to go to the festival. Gotta get you to watch Into the Woods. Pterodactyls! I gotta go. It's time to leave.
Is this better or worse than raptors? Because they're probably what getting you way is after.
Worse! It's picking me up! It made me drop my gun! I just fucking rammed me to the wall!
Is there a problem?
Ah!
Do we have a gun now?
Horrible! I don't have anything equipped. Please! Please! I'm trying to equip it, it wouldn't let me do it! Cause you had a bad day. Take the red day. I don't know the words, but I know the song. Oh
Pretty
god,
sure
this
that
is
was
horrible.
correct.
Why?
Man, you're not aiming high enough.
Regina!
You're not gonna hit him. He's in the sky.
Regina!
Oh, Neela.
Stop aiming at him and then not aiming at him! This is horrible.
This is impossible. There's no way to shoot a pterodactyl.
I think it screamed like I hit it. Please! Please, 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 please! No! Oh no! It is the most difficult thing you could do, hitting a giant car-sized monster. It's not responding now.
That's why no one has ever shot a bird. It's impossible.
It's true. Okay, maybe
They're-
we just leave.
They're in the air. How would you hit them? Doesn't
Can't.
even make sense.
It's impossible.
Tom,
Tom!
Sorry, the musical sting! Bam!
You're like 5 minutes after she'd come in as well. Like she was just standing there.
I thought it was safe to take a drink, and it wasn't.
Experiments have nothing to do with energy development.
Oh,
Tom,
rip Tom.
Here,
I need more water.
take this.
If I get up, everyone's gonna see my tum-tum, though.
his wounds are pretty bad. We have to move him
Do a
someplace
quick
safe
break to
immediately.
protect the tom-tom.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's the rare and elusive Kayshurrr. Because I'm wearing a crop top. Because it's too hot to exist. Ugh. Yeah, the head turning was also very good. Okay, listen, I love man juice, which I'm gonna hold this up so everyone knows that I'm talking about the mug. I love my silly little mug, but he's not big enough. He doesn't hold nearly enough water. It's so hot. It's so goddamn hot. It is now officially 32 degrees Celsius. I thought I turned it back to Fahrenheit during the break, and I didn't, apparently. But that means it's well into, like, being, like, 92, 93 degrees, and it's horrible.
It's not like 30
Horrible.
degrees. You've life hacked it. You've divided the temperature by 3 by changing it on your computer.
It's 90 degrees right now.
You have control of nature now. You've done it.
I've done it. I've gone and ding dang done it. Oh, Oh, jeez. Okay. Alright. This is fine. Let's go. Alright, well, Tom's dead. Got disc L! I don't know where that's supposed to go. We haven't seen L.
Tom.
I
Your
am very
friend,
glad.
but he died instantly.
Right?
Why does he have his own section in the guide when he dies 5 seconds after you meet him?
It's a good question. Maybe we just needed to know how cool Tom was. A machine to save the data that has been processed at the computer terminals.
Data from the
This looks pretty.
computer terminals.
Listen, I'll take care of it.
He is taking care of Tom's wound. Oh, Tom's not dead.
That explains it.
I thought Tom was dead.
He looks dead.
He kind of looks dead. I don't think a wet wipe is gonna fix this, buddy. Or are
A
we
really
doing...
big wet wipe. We got a whole box. It'll be fine.
I guess we can't really, like, animate the polygons to look like they're breathing. No. The wound is death. Unaid! Get me out of here!
Just gotta get a resuscitator for Tom. He'll be fine.
Ah! Ah!
Might be time to use a med pack.
Yeah! 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 Ah! Let's just do medium. Let's just do a medium med pack. Oh my god. Oh my god. Unaid! He'll bite your legs off. Oh my god. That is an incredibly bold way to go down a ladder. One hand. Barely any feet. Card seems to be used when transporting chemical materials. I got the B1 crane card. Great.
Nice.
This looks like a puzzle. This looks like an incredibly big puzzle.
There's a chance this is a puzzle.
I don't want to push
There are
any
too
of the
many buttons here.
Right? Listen, game, I will hit all of these buttons if you don't give me an idea of what I'm supposed to do. Panel key, B1 grain card. I've got both of the discs that I need for the DDKL, but I don't know where that is. Where do they want me to go? Not here. Okay.
Draw the solution for this puzzle up if you need it.
We'll poke around first
That's fair.
and see where we go. Yeah, it's definitely 57035, which is not the incorrect code from earlier.
Yeah.
It is 100% what I need for here. Okay, maybe we go back up.
We can check every possible number. From 57035 down.
Oh no. That's too many numbers. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no. It's music. Please, Regina. Need you to not run into the wall. Preferably.
Man, please.
Oh god. Not mix. Not exit completely out of the menu.
The worst thing about the pteranodons is that these are flying dinosaurs which mostly attack you in the outer areas Like roofs or large open elevators areas is like that. Yeah. The best thing you can do when facing one of them is just run away in a zigzag pattern. Run serpentine.
Serpentine is always the answer until it's not. Can I... Hold on. Hold on. Oh, there's two of them now.
Oh no. Will the serpentine work? They'll come from both angles.
It's fine. Oh, you're right! Tom is up! Because they're not... Because he's sitting up now. He's not dead! Unless Rick has just set him up and is pretending that he's fine. Is this what I need to look
Is
at?
Rick weekend at Bernie's-ing, Tom?
Yes.
Oh no.
Always. When in doubt, weekend and Bernie's sing... Burster. I think I got the heat madness.
You might have got the heat madness.
Might have the heat madness. It's better now that I have like pointed the fan directly at me. And it is
obviously
on the...
not. It's happening again.
It's gonna get better. Worst Muppet to take to the zombie apocalypse is Tom. I thought Dead Tom was the worst Muppet to take to
Dead
the
Tom
zombie.
would be the worst because he's already on the other team.
Yeah.
He's actively working against you.
Pressing the button on the same computer terminal. Okay. I think I understand, but also I can't see where any of the pipes are. I see where the pipes are now. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Is that... Do I have to do all three? Oh. Oh. Oh, I see.
Oh no.
Okay, wait, no. I think I like... No. I think I like those ones there for now.
This seems like we'll be able to brute force it, but also it might take a minute.
Okay, no, so all of the pipes are shaped differently and you have to stack them on top of each other in the right order. You know.
Is green always a straight line? Because then green can only go to green?
Yeah. Yeah.
And...
Okay, okay. Nope.
Is it mirrored?
It is.
Oh no.
This is fine. Because... that goes there.
And then...
And then red? No. So red has to be... No. Oh. Green is going to be the last one that we do. I understand.
Ah! Does green go down the middle and then blue and red wrap around it?
I think
Is
so.
that the plan? Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm bad
But
at...
we need to put the one on the bottom first because otherwise it won't let us put it down.
So it has to go... It has to go red, green, and then blue. Right?
Yeah.
Also, hi Kim. Sorry, I'm braining. I'm not braining very well, but I'm braining. Okay, okay, and then
Red's gotta go where the green one is now.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll do...
If I understand anything. Which is possibly not the case.
Okay, and then we'll... And then this one? Goes red. Oh no, try to get some rest.
Oh, that looks good. I like
And
this
then-
move.
And then green.
Oh, jeez, Kim.
Oof. That's too much. Okay. And then... And then...
Blue one? I think you got it?
Yeah. I was just trying to remember which ones I haven't touched. I am a puzzle genius.
I did hear that was like the big puzzle from this game was the pipe puzzle.
It
Unless there's
honestly wasn't...
another iteration of that, then that was yeah.
That wasn't that bad though.
They were manageable. It was just like realizing that red
needed-
and blue were gonna like move. They weren't gonna
Yeah.
stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the same lane.
I liked that puzzle. I mean, it's definitely like... I think I would have struggled more if I hadn't just, like, started pushing buttons and looking at everything. Because I would have been like, well, I need to find a hint for this. But, like, once I could see all the pieces, it's like, oh, I understand. I see what you're doing. Okay, I have to chug all of the water. Need to remember to stay hydrated.
When we
That's okay.
started that, I was worried it was like each button at each position had like 3 different pieces, and you just needed like a hint to tell you what order to press them in.
Yeah, I was also concerned about that. Why are we doing this?
Not again. Oh no.
I don't... Oh, we got out of it! Whoa!
Nerd.
You fucking idiot, forgetting how to fly? That's your thing!
You have one thing.
Stupid reptile brain. You have one thing. It's true though. Oh my god.
So I heard banging on the door. I thought the pterodactyl coming in.
Yeah, no. No.
No one's allowed in the Tom room.
He is taking care of Tom's wound. Oh. Okay, large size elevator. Does this work now? This button? Yes, it's green! Oh. But can I handle the camera angles? Answer is yes. Always go wide. Should get back to Rick and Tom as soon as possible. Well, in that case, I'm gonna take my sweet time. Let's go. I like this game. I like Dino Crisis.
We have access to the elevator outside.
Good. Now we can head straight down to the underground.
I was worried that this wasn't gonna be like as cool as I remember it being. But it's cool.
Yes. Dinosaurs are cool.
Yeah! Yeah!
So you saw the beast, right?
Yeah,
I also like how Tom's gun is just like
Yeah.
clipping through.
Pteranodon, wasn't
Yeah!
A man
Yeah!
What is Uzi in the
saw
man's
that it was
mouth?
a real
Yeah.
dinosaur.
It brings Rick comfort,
it?
okay?
Didn't I tell you?
It's like a
It's
like
just
a
nibbling on
binky.
on the end of it.
Oh jeez. Sometimes you just need a gun dummy, okay? It's fine. carrying out room B1. Carrying out room?
Some of this might not have been translated correct. I was suspecting at the large size elevator, but now.
I mean, I figured, like, there's a difference between, like,
We have to hurry.
you know,
Time's not going to
like
last
a
much
person
longer.
elevator and, like,
I'll clear a path.
an
Only
elevator
use
for, like,
You just keep an eye
Large
shipment
size.
containers. Yeah. But no, it's the carrying out room. Not the shipment room. The carrying out room.
Also, the dialogue and voice acting have been, like, a lot better than contemporaries.
It's-
Like Resident Evil.
True. True.
But some definitions are better. I mean, we do love Barry Burton here.
I fucking love Barry Burton. You were almost a Jill sandwich. Thank you, Barry. You
It's a
beautiful
weapon.
goober.
It's really powerful, especially against living things.
There's your American accent. You did it.
Blood. Hope this is not Chris's blood.
Okay, when are we playing Resident Evil?
Here's a lockpick. I'm sure you, the master of unlocking, could use it.
This is perfect. Fruity, are you actually Barry Burton?
Possibly.
Have you been lying to me this whole time? Have you been Barry Burton and not told me?
That was Barry Burton all along.
Oh my god. Oh my god. It was very good. Control card is required to operate the crane. Do I not have that? I have that. I'm just an idiot. No, it cannot be used here. Never mind. I'm not an idiot. The game just doesn't want me to have nice things. I understand. Oh, my face hurts.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It means I have been laughing and smiling. So
I'll
I
be
think
less
that's
funny.
Please don't. One of us has to be hilarious, and I'm just over here panicking constantly, sweating too
It's
much.
quite relaxing for me, because I'm not getting eaten by dinosaurs.
I'm glad you're having a good time with it. I didn't mean to come back through here.
No. Don't make us watch the lift cutscene again.
It's our stealth loading screen. Guess what? We have to go back down. Guess what? We have to do it again. I was gonna say earlier before we got on stream, but I'll just say now, if there's a game that you want to play and we want to stream that, we can do that. Doesn't just have to be me doing it. I don't mind hosting this, but also
We could do one. There are some horror games in the stack.
let's go. I've just been having a lot of fun with these. These have been very good.
Yeah. I'm glad everyone likes hanging out with me. I was worried I was terribly boring.
No. No. Not even. I just always worry that I'm, like, asking people to hang out with me too much.
I worry about that too. I worry about all the things.
Yeah. Hi. We have anxiety. Our entire friend group is just anxious. It's very good. No, this is great. You're not boring. Let's go. Let's do all the things. Let's go! We're the new AA. Anxiety Anonymous. Joke's on all of you. I've got your names. I know who you are. There's no anonymity here. I know who you are. I realized that came out way more threatening than I anticipated it would. I knew there was gonna be a level of threat there, and then it just... I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I love my friends. Need I remind you? Oh no! I've done it bad. Get to watch this cutscene for a third time. I don't know.
Saying, you were trying to imply they're not really called McMuffin, fucker.
I am. Yeah, let me tell you.
I don't believe you.
I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Oh no. There's a hallway there where we can go
Oh, there's
out. Oh. Oh.
There should
Yeah.
be another puzzle. Do we have the crane card?
I had... Yes, I have B1 crane card.
Should let us use the crane card on the crane, even though I didn't.
Okay, well, let me go try again. Maybe I wasn't,
Yeah.
like, lined up with it properly. That
Might have
happens
to be in a
sometimes.
very specific spot.
Fucker is my mother's maiden name. Imagine a white person having the last name of Fucker. I would like that last name. Maybe I have to update my computer. I'm no longer Kayshurrr Esquire.
Cash fucker.
Fuckington, excuse me.
Posh fucker.
Absolutely. Because, you know, that's me. I'm so posh. Not. That's not me. Despite being an Esquire. Alright, item.
That's
Okay.
the strat. You've got to use it. You got to open the dialogue box so you know you're looking right at it, and then. Oh dear. Oh no, what is this?
I have to hook the thing.
Makes sense?
No, I don't. We need to move. Okay, I understand. I don't know. Oh. Hi, TK. How are you doing?
Hi, TK.
I understand. We need to
I'm
move.
having trouble with crits.
Ooh, I need to move up 2. Over to the left 1. Down 1. Hook.
Yeah, I think I see what's going on.
But if I move it over 2, then it's gonna drop it in the way again.
I
No.
was assuming we'd get to do more after this. I might not be right.
I think we can go around the bottom of the
Okay.
container on the very far right hand side.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Oh no! Drink some water. Try to chill out a little bit. Yeah, if it's as hot where you are as it is here. Like I said, make sure that you're staying hydrated. Take it easy. Stay in a nice cool spot. Oh no. Okay.
We could. No, we'd put it right back where the other one was.
Can I exit? Cause like I don't think I have to move it again, right?
It depends if you can get around on the side.
Yeah. Well, let's come down and find out. Cause I'd rather double check and find out that I have to move it again than not. I can't get around it. Okay, that's fine. I wonder if I can stack it on top of something. You know?
I feel like stacking's not gonna be allowed.
Listen.
I feel like you have to just put all the things out of the way.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. We can do that. Okay.
You could move another one from where it is so you'd have a path through, but you'd have to put it back where the first one was so you wouldn't
Yeah.
actually have a path through.
Yeah. This is okay. I do kind of like this puzzle now that I understand what's happening. We could do up to and hook. So we grab that, like, that very top one.
Mhm.
And
We have
then...
Down one, right? I think this is
yeah.
fine? It's gonna take 3 steps, but... No, 4 steps, but I think I can see a way.
We do the down one, over one, and then release. So that it drops it... No, because that just puts it where the other one started. But I could potentially do... grab it, go down one, and then over 2 for our last one to put it below the other one. I don't know if any of the words I'm saying make any sense to any other human beside me, but I think I see what I'm supposed to do.
I think you got it.
And then we put
So
this
we have
in...
to block our path again, but this is fine, because now we can get into that little gap there.
So we can do...
Wait, no, we needed to use loads of them to get the first...
Yeah... Hold on. What if I... I'm gonna do some weird stuff, alright?
Okay.
Wait, I meant to unhook that! Okay. Did that give me
Can we
back all-
keep one hook? Because that makes
want-
everything a lot easier if we can just keep one on the hook.
I wonder if it takes it back to the starting position.
Yeah?
Oh wait, it
That might be
does,
the
but we
key
got
to
our
it.
thing back. No, this is great.
Yes.
Okay, release. Start. Up to, over one, down one, hook, and that should pick up the one that's blocking our path. This is why crane operators have to go through all that intense training and stuff.
Now I think we're good. I mean, we could move it over and drop it if we wanted to, but, like, it would probably fine.
What if we just leave it there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What if we just
We
don't...
could dunk it if we needed to, but
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
look like we need to.
Concentrate on the mission and leave the rest.
Okay, cool.
Right.
I like that there are, like, multiple solutions for that. Kind of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's neat. I like these puzzles.
Be sure to beat him down for me. Okay?
Like, they're a little weird, but, like, in that incredibly endearing sort of way.
Yeah.
And they're not, like, terribly convoluted. You have to stop and think about them, but, like, yeah. Oh.
There were probably, like, a really complicated solution to get all the boxes somewhere safe there, but you can also think outside the box and just keep one on the hook.
Right?
That
Honestly.
man don't have many of his bits left.
No, he's sort of just a hunk. Today's to do! Prepare the DDKs needed to enter the laboratory area. Tomorrow, I have to go to the computer room to do the maintenance on Dr. Kirk's computer. But I think I left a DDK at the large-size elevator control room when I went there yesterday to do the elevator maintenance. I'll have to check it later today. As for the other DDK, I think the rookie guy Tom, who was recently assigned to the laboratory area, has it. I'll have to borrow it from him. I think we have both of these pieces. I have no idea how that... Yeah. No, it's okay.
I forgot the other one, I forgot to write it down.
I think we have it, because the one that we got from Tom was the L one, and I think we have the other L one as well.
Okay.
We'll double check it, but yeah. I have no idea how that jerk approached Kirk, but he seems to have gained his complete trust. It's weird how nobody knows his past history. And this is why Man died, because he started suspecting Tom.
Unbelievable.
Inventory is full. Well, that's fine. It's just a dart. Yeah. DDKL. DDKL.
Nice.
Perfect.
Happy to be wrong on this.
Rick, watch out!
Oh no.
Chew on this!
Problem.
Chew on this. Where are my boys? Hey, game?
The lasers were openable there. Don't know if.
We'll go back
Don't
in
know
a
if that's
second.
other one. I was just saying in case you missed it. We haven't been any of the ways.
I did.
I think.
This seems incorrect.
It's fine.
No,
Tom will
it's
be
medical
fine.
room hallway. Okay. Oh no. Oh no! Worms!
The little chickens. Hopping, bouncing chickens.
Where did their feathers go? Tom!
He's dead.
Rick, you wasted your giant wet wipe on the man!
Yeah.
Not the anger pigeons!
I'll be in the control room.
Oh, hey, Rick, do you want a hug? Your buddy just died.
Oh, jeez.
There's a thing right here. It's a memo that seems to have been addressed to the doctor on duty! Yes, I will read the memo. Dr. Sherwood. The ID card on the desk belongs to one of my patients. Please hand it to Colonel Clay when he shows up. Told me that he was going to hold a meeting in the strategy room on the first floor to make preparations for tonight's experiment. Please make sure to hand the card to him since one is required to enter the strategy room. I can get into the strategy room now.
Should probably sneak that card. Can we take his Uzi?
Right? Can I have this? It is Tom's corpse! He has been savagely slashed. But, can we... But,
Poor Tom.
gun. Naps. Where did the dinosaur go? Need small size key to open this emergency case. That looks useful. Patient's bed. There's no sign that it has been used.
Didn't
I
even
don't
get
know.
to bed.
Sad. He was just so tired. He take nap right there. I can't interact with that file. That's not an actual file. Understood.
Definitely looks like a file.
Right?
I believe you though.
It's a computer terminal that can access the researchers' database. Nothing looks useful. I'm gonna try again because I'm worried. Nope.
Looks like all the other files, maybe don't work.
Right? Save point. I
We
was
need
just
one of those. It's the last one.
I was just gonna say, because we're at full health, I'm gonna overwrite our first save. This is a calculated decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, it's been a minute since
Choke for the chickens.
we've saved. Yeah, there's kind of a few chickens over here. It's fine. They're busy eating the dinosaur that's over here. This is
The man
how we
don't talk
came
about
in.
him in the guide. He didn't even acknowledge him as dinosaurs. The chickens.
They're silly and pointless. No, we just saved. I thought there was another door in here, but there is not. That's okay. We'll just leave the chickens alone. They're not hurting anyone. Is there anything over here? Just blood? Just blood. Just gobs of blood. This is fine. Where am I? Why is the music like this? Oh! Oh! I I know where we are. This is where the shutter was. Shutter was here.
Oh!
Yeah! Which is great, because now I can...
with all the medicine in it.
Yeah! Let's pick that up.
No, game, you need to stack those.
Right?
Game, please!
know
They stack
what?
up to 2 game.
We'll do this. We'll do this, and then we'll do sort. And
Okay,
now we have the 2 there. Unaid. Slag bullets. I can't put those in here. Do you have our darts in here? Do I really? I don't need these.
Don't need an aid.
I don't need an aid. Although, wait, no, we can't combine that with the resuscitation stuff. That's fine. We're fine on med packs. So, we'll just hit sort real fast. I'm pretty sure it was fine, but we'll still double check it. And make our way into the other hallway. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I get a little turned around. Fixed camera is not my friend when it comes to navigating spaces.
It's not anyone's friend.
No. It's like, if I'm allowed to, like, control the camera, I can very easily remember where everything is. Oh, fuck! No, dinosaur! Please. Please, please! Yes, I will push the button. Oh, God!
Can we push the button on this side? No, never mind.
Ah!
We're doing this now. Yes!
Get fucked, dinosaur! I do like that. That's a neat mechanic. Okay,
I'm gonna ask earlier when we're getting chess, but I didn't say it in time. But this time you got pushed over right in front of the button. Say it long enough. Oh, better check the toilets for ammo.
there might be ammo in here.
No.
Or dinosaurs. There might be dinosaurs in here too.
Just Velociraptor pooping.
No one seems to be inside. Look,
No bullets in there? Are you sure? Have we been up there?
I don't think we have. Cleaning supplies are inside. There's no ammo in here this time.
Ever?
It is well maintained and clean though, which is surprising considering they're urinals.
The Velociraptors are very, just very clean.
They're not horrible. They have manners and decent bathroom etiquette.
So it sets them apart from the zombies.
Honestly, though. Okay, there aren't any other ways to go through here. I shouldn't go through here. This just takes us
really near where we're going, right? Or am I
No.
reading it backwards? Okay,
reading
no,
it backwards.
we're right back where we started.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you know, well, hold on. I don't remember being able to get in here, but we might not have tried before. Oh God!
Let's go back.
Hey, it's kind of not good here. Let's go.
Yeah. Very silly idea. Let's never go through there again.
That was bad, and we did not like it. All right.
I think they have to just stop and let you grappling hook away really slowly. Just levitate off.
Well, dang. I love this game.
I can do it's a cutscene now.
Right. Oh, sorry. This isn't where I parked my car. Gotta go. Ugh. I know, I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm going to keep repeating myself with this, but I do really like this.
Nerd.
I like that they just keep doing it too.
They're mad as hell.
Yeah, they are. It is on its own, like, terrifying that they just do not give a shit that they're running into these lasers. They want to fuck your day up.
Fucking idiot. Damn out of here. Turn up.
They're reptiles. They're not intelligent. They're terrifying, though. DDK code Disky! Very good. Very good. This terminal keeps track of the soldiers who are positioned in the facility. I will be reading all of the messages this way now, I have decided. Ammo and medical supplies in this emergency box!
Red is ammo, green is medical supplies, yellow is both.
Correct. Kinda dig
Yellow's
that.
really good to open if we can.
But I imagine it's... we don't find them as often?
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm gonna wait to open it until we find a second one. Or until we find out that we have to be in this area a little longer.
Okay.
Especially since we already have things in a green box.
Yeah, we'll probably want to open one of each at some point, just because they've got so much stuff in them.
No, for sure.
The first ones to be trusted.
To be believed. Yeah. Well,
That
I
green
guess in
one
that
was
case...
huge.
Like, we've already found a red one, and so it's like, do we want to open the red one before we open the yellow one? Because I imagine the yellow would have medical and ammo supplies in it.
The red's probably just got loads of ammo in.
Yeah, and we are incredibly short on ammo.
And we feel like we might find red more often. Depends. How close is it to the green one? So we could, like, fully sort the inventory while we're about.
That's a good question. I don't remember where red is.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, maybe we'll wander around and try and figure that out at some point. Maybe that's what we'll do for, like, this last little bit before the end of stream. Because we got about, like, 25 minutes. Okay, what is this? ID card is created. This device is used to input the identification data. Okay. I need that for that one room. No, wait, unless I can use that on... Can I combine stuff? No. Okay, that's fine.
Can we mix them together?
I was hoping. Okay, where else? Where do they want us to go? Do they have a destination in mind? They do not. Understood. I bet I can use this ID card that I have to access that room where Rick is. So it's just south of where we currently are?
Yeah.
But I want to find... I need to remember that this is the room with the yellow box.
The guide starts. The scene will start with your heroine Regina. You spelled heroin wrong.
Oh no! The wrong one, buddy. Oh, I am out of bullets.
Yeah, we are not great on ammo, it turns out.
No,
I think the
not at
pistol
all.
is not, like,
I mean, pistol is
viable.
garbage.
Yeah, it's trash. It just don't do any damage. The only time you can, like, reasonably use it is when they're behind one of these fences, and even then, it's not good. It takes, like, all the bullets in the world to kill a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Shotgun, even when you don't kill him, it tends to push him over so they can't jump on you, at least.
Yeah. He's
not
dead. I was hoping I could just run past him. He was being a butthole. It was like, I'm gonna tail whip ya. Please don't. Don't tail whip. Okay, we're still... Yes. Yes, I will save. But we're gonna save in the second slot. I have to verbally say all of this or I will fuck it up. For anyone who's wondering why I'm telling you what I'm doing like that.
Staggering your saves is very important in these old games.
God,
You
for
don't want
real.
to save in just one slot in case you fucked yourself.
Honestly, though. Yeah, I gotta talk myself through it, or I will beans it up. Okay, let's try and use the ID card here.
Might need to make sure you're looking at the thing
The
properly.
elevator cannot be operated with the information on this ID card. Okay, so then... Then can I... just use this? No, I have to use it in that one room. Okay, where was that room? Rick!
What?
They were right on the other side of the
I
safe
don't see
room?
any signs of Doc here.
Was it?
We just came from there, right?
I thought it was a different room.
Oh no, I forgot, sorry.
No, it's okay. I thought it was the, like, upstairs room. That one room where they were like, this is the room where you change your ID card. And I was like, I need to make me a fake ID. And I think that's on the second floor. It's been so long since we've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll run into the red box, please.
Maybe. Please, 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 please let me run into the red box. Was the red box in the shipping out room? Was it outside? It might have been.
Don't remember that either. I just remember there was one somewhere. That's all I got.
No. Okay, this is fine. No, dinosaur. Oh, I don't know.
I'm real dumb, I'm sorry.
No, there's just a lot to pay attention to. This is not where I need to be. The issue is, some of these rooms are things that we've seen at the very beginning of the game. Some of the other issue is, I go through rooms so fucking quickly because there's dinosaurs that I can't mentally place where any of them are.
Up here's the chief's room or whatever.
Yeah.
And the room with the safe with the gun parts in it.
Fucking hell. Let's get the gun parts, since we're here.
I'm scared.
Same.
The very well protected gun parts.
Okay, what was the code for this one?
8159. Music keeps going while you're up in this.
It sounded like the dinosaur was running at us while we were here.
Yeah, both in.
Okay. We're gonna get out here and I'm gonna heal. Because we are hobbling.
Yeah, hobbling.
We are hobbling. But look, we're doing great on med packs right now.
We weren't bleeding, so we didn't need to use one of the big ones.
It's true. Communication area is not where I want to go. Actually.
What's that other door at the end here? I don't remember if we'll have got a thing that does anything to it.
I mean, we're here. We might as well check.
I think at the antenna stuff.
Yeah. Antenna not what we need. Can I use the ID card here?
Have a
No.
look. Yeah. We ain't
Doors
got as
locked
many
from the other
keys as I'd expect.
Yeah. Well, it's like a lot of the doors that we've come
Weird
across are locked from the other side.
Yeah, that's too.
And that's the antenna room, so we don't need to be there. I'm gonna look at the map real fast. I'm gonna push the wrong buttons real fast. Okay, so it's not up here that we need to be. Then is it...
Not the pistol pads, though. This one.
Yeah, yeah,
We accomplished a thing.
we did. We might run outside? Maybe we go back to the other save space and go downstairs. Go back
Sounds
to like
good.
where Rick is, you know?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Yes. No.
Wait, no. Yeah, you. I think you're right with no. I can't remember. How does anything link to anything else?
Yeah. No, I think we need to go back to where Rick is so that we can go downstairs. Because that'll take us here.
Yeah, that'll work.
And then we can get... It might just be easier to go to the first floor and go back outside. Okay. It is incredibly difficult to keep track of literally anything. I would... Oh.
Oh no.
Okay. Well, this is
I feel
fine.
like that even when you're going back through old areas, you can still like get new cutscenes spooked.
Yeah! It's cool. It's good. We'll never be comfortable ever again. Just always panicking that a freaking dinosaur is gonna come out and rip my face off.
Anytime we walk into a room IRL, listening for claw sounds.
I'm gonna be worried about dinosaurs forever now. Okay. This is the wrong way. We're just going outside. I need to go the other way. This is where evolution starts kicking in. They are going to learn how to use doorknobs, and it's gonna be horrible. They will no longer... Yeah. We should watch Jurassic Park sometime soon.
I absolutely adore Jurassic Park.
Same. Same.
Nice.
It's been a while since I watched it, though, and now I'm like... cool to see some dinosaurs.
You should watch it.
We should.
That could be the next one.
I was gonna say, we're doing, what we do in the shadows? Tomorrow? Was that the plan? I think that was my mental plan, at least. I need to double check to make sure
Yeah,
I can watch
we
it
were
somewhere.
showing Smiley.
Yeah. I think it's on Amazon. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow, and then we'll do Jurassic Park next week.
Go evolve some thumbs, you idiots.
What is...
The cliff has fallen down. This was not like this when we were here before.
This is horrible.
Yeah, we can still get there. It does loop round. It's a long way around.
I have to go the other way now, though.
Yeah.
Who needs thumbs when you got big fuck-off claws?
People want to open doors. And
You just
even people inside the rooms.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Oh, jeez. Oh, dinosaur, please. Dinosaur, please. Dinosaur, please. Dinosaur, please. Dinosaur, please. Dinosaur, please. That doesn't get any less terrifying. Watching them just, like, full, like, lean into their run to come get you. Woof.
So fast, and you can't, like, really stop them.
No.
Unless you absolutely have to. You just don't have the ammo.
No.
Maybe
It's
if you do have
good.
the ammo, if it's in the pistol, and they're gonna be hitting you back.
Oof. Okay, I don't want to go into the... No, I do want to go into the save room. Okay. Okay. Oh, jeez. I don't feel like we have enough time to get down there, though. No, fuck it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna get down there. We're gonna do the thing. And then we'll come back and save. Oh, well, if we go a little over time.
Yeah.
I can smell food, though, and I am hungry. It can wait. Food can wait. Just by a few minutes. I like this game, though.
You know, these ravenous monsters devour people, really? It really made me hungry.
Honestly, though. It's like anytime I watch a really gory horror movie, I tend to get a bit hungry. Just a touch. I wouldn't worry about it, though.
You might be a cannibal.
Might be. There's a possibility. Okay. These are all, like, dead ends, so where is our elevator? Get out of here. Look at those fucking nerds. Stupid little chickens. My legs are longer than yours.
Oh, those
Cutscene.
idiots. Gun probably even works on them. Oh my god.
Tina, what's taking so long? We've got a job to finish.
We found Tom. He didn't make it.
That idiot.
How do things look over on
I'm
you?
in the lab area. I
Good
know the
point.
dog's still hiding around here somewhere.
Hasn't happened yet. I think we're
can see
fine.
an elevator from here. Maybe I can use that to go down from the first floor.
Okay, well I can't get in there yet, because it's red.
Hey, Tom got eaten by a velociraptor. Ugh, that idiot.
He fucking would. Classic Tom.
Hallway for carrying in material.
Oh no.
Damn. He's a lot.
Danger! I like these.
Oh, he's dead.
He's dead! So I think if I successfully do the danger things, I kill the dinosaur.
That's handy.
Which is pretty cool. Guess I'll push the switch. Yeah, she is getting mauled a lot.
Assume you're not actually getting damaged during those? Unless you, like, fuck it up. But, like, it looks cruel.
Right? The fact that her shoulders are still, like, attached is wild. I think the worst one is when they just, like, grab her by the arm and just shake her.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad enough when the dinosaurs hop on her and, like, stomp on her a bit, but, like... Oh, God. Door's been unlocked. Where does this go? It's just looped around. I understand. Okay. We do have a shortcut. That's exciting. We like shortcuts. Okay, then we gotta go...
Too late, he's giving you shortcuts, but also taking away old paths.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, I kind of appreciate the fact that it is, like, a dynamic map. It's exciting. Just ride the elevator for a while. It's fine. Same, Regina. It's a good moment to not get mauled by dinosaurs. Okay, where... I wish that literally any of these rooms were marked.
The one near... the one on your right is where Tom was, right?
I think so, yeah.
When he was sat on the floor and we thought he was dead, but before he actually died.
Yeah. I don't know that where I want to be is actually here.
Ah. Been a lot of cutscenes though.
So maybe we continue on with Gale's bullshit, and hopefully we find the things that we need that way.
We'll do Gale's bullshit.
Gale, get your bullshit out of here. Lamia is melting.
Oh no.
I
You got burned cold room.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta tell her that she can cool down in there. She's just stretched out on the floor, and it's very cute, but it's also like, hey, I think you're a little warm, because you're not in your box anymore. Have you considered? going to the room that's not cold. Or that is cold. The room that is not hot. And is therefore cold. Brain.
Saved it.
Okay. Got there in the end. It's fine. What's this room? Door's been unlocked. Where does this go? Backup generator room. I know where we are. Is the...
Oh, gee.
Is the red box in here? I don't think it is. I'm gonna check real fast, though. Since we're here.
Genuinely don't remember. I'm useless. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Because I also don't remember. Hey, I also don't know where anything is. This is fine.
You can't actually play the game. I'm just watching and making goofs.
That's all the more reason why you shouldn't know where anything is.
Should be making myself useful over here.
Nah, we're here for the goofs. That is the useful thing that you are doing.
Okay.
Again, I'm too busy screaming about dinosaurs. This is not where I wanted to go.
That's where Lumpus is.
That is where Lumpus is. Oh no. Okay, hold on. Here? No.
It's back into the hall, right? No? Maybe?
This is back to where the big elevator is.
Right.
Large elevator.
Large size elevator.
But this is what Gale was talking about. No, we were talking about this to Gale. So... where does Gale want us to go? Doesn't matter. We hate Gale and his bullshit.
Yeah.
Maybe we just make our way back to a save spot.
That's fine. It does seem a lot of the stuff down here got unlocked, but it's all kind of shortcuts.
Yeah.
So, like, probably means there's doors unlocked in other places as well.
Mm-hmm.
Probably since we got the power back on.
Agreed. Medical room.
This is where Tom was dead.
This is where Tom was dead. Tom is dead.
Oh, yeah.
Not just was.
Oh,
Currently
the chickens
is.
have got to him by now.
Chickens are too short, they can't open doors!
It's true.
Okay, let's save here. And we'll call it for now.
Yeah. Go eat your food.
Yeah. But this was wonderful and great. I did just
I
save.
love games like this. These are... something about them. Just don't make them like this anymore.
It's true, they don't. Okay. Okay, and I've properly exited out of... Oh no! Ah! I did it all bad! This is fine. We're back. It's fine. I don't think chickens are liquid. I think that's incorrect, Travis. Cats are liquid. But I don't think chickens are. No, I also am really enjoying this. And I do really like older games, but some of them are just so unplayable now. This
Some of
one
them are just really mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was concerned that this was gonna be, like, terribly mean, and so far it's not
That's
been.
a rock fact.
It's like it's kind of mean, but like you're meant to feel kind of powerless against the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess when
It's not just like full on hostile to the player. It's
yeah, and I think that's what I mean, like when I call like a game mean, where it's just like it's unfair and it's just ridiculous. Like I know I want to do Clock Tower at some point, and that game is mean. That game is mean, and so it'll definitely probably be one that we like keep a guide up for. But I do like really like Clock Tower, but that's a mean game. Whereas, like, I feel like Dino Crisis is, like, it takes a lot of power away from you, but it also gives you a lot of options for how to handle things. You can just run past the dinosaurs. While they attack you a lot, you do have a significant amount of health.
I like being able to close the laser doors behind
Yes!
you.
And
They run
watching
into them, that was cool.
Stupid idiots running into the lasers. Yeah, it's definitely, like, it's more forgiving. Or at least, like, it gives you options and stuff. And I mean, like, we've only had... I don't think we've even had, like, an official game over. Did we have one? We might have had one.
We had one.
But
right
it's
at the
like,
start, and we're still figuring stuff out.
yeah, but it's like, it gives you enough items that you can kind of, like, manage to get around, and even if you don't have enough health items, like, you get those resuscitation packs and stuff. And so, like, this feels doable. Plus, it's just cool. Like I said, like, there's not many, like, dino horror games. And that seems like a market that needs to be tapped into. I know that there is one game on Steam that's going to be coming out sometime this year with dinosaurs. I have it on my wish list, and I do want to, like, look at that now before I forget. Where is it?
A few Jurassic Park games, but they're all rubbish.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's... Look, we love Jurassic Park, but it doesn't translate well into a game. Death Ground is the game that I'm thinking of.
You know, the Peter Jackson's King Kong game might be the other one, the other dinosaur survival game.
We were talking about that the other day, and it cracked me up that you were, like, immediately like, no, it's actually good.
It's actually good.
I love that. I'm here for it. Let's go ahead and do a raid. I know William is streaming right now, and usually I would be like, let's go hang out with him, but it is Nimbly's birthday. And Nimbly is streaming.
William last time, I don't think you'll mind.
It's true. But everyone should check out William is Young. He's great. He's wonderful. Just a good, sweet streamer. But like I said, it is Nimbly's 30th birthday. I think they turned 30 like the other day, but it's their stream for their birthday. And so they're doing a subathon, but they're playing some Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So we're gonna go say hi to Nimbly. And it's been a while since we've gone and seen her. So let's go hang out with Nimbly.
We love Nimbly.
We do. Nimbly's perfect. Such a sweet person. But we will be back tomorrow with more Dino Crisis. And then hopefully we'll be either getting very far in or potentially finishing Song of Horror this next week. Yeah. It's gonna be great. I'm very excited for more Dino Crisis though. So thank you, Fruity, for being here and hanging out with us. Thank you, friends, for watching. Yeah! It's good. We're gonna go say hi to Nimbly. Alright. Okay, let's go do the thing. Bye, friends!